Hi, my name's Ray. I got this problem, this crisis. You see, there's this really powerful supercomputer called Conhuman, which has been giving me a lot of trouble. It's a long story, but the short version is that humanity was looking to colonize other planets and expand into the galaxy. Conhuman wanted to make sure humanity was going to thrive forever, but with so many variables to work out, it sort of went off the deep end and started wiping out humanity by trying to merge man and machine together. I won't bore you with the details, but I need your help to try and deactivate this computer before it's too late. You'll help me, won't you? I mean, after all, everybody loves Rays.
Shoot the Core Cast.
Welcome to Shoot the Corecast, the official companion podcast to the RF Generation Shmup Club. This is a family-friendly shmup podcast that burns through more AI tokens than Conhuman chewing through a RayCrisis credit feed. I'm Addicted, known as Addicted to Shmups, and recently at the latest Cotton game. And with me, as always, is
MetalFRO, also known as Game Boy Guru. And we have a guest with us today who has been on the podcast before, but we would like to welcome back Gojiguy.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. As always, if you would like to connect with the podcast, you can do so in a number of ways. You can follow us on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at ShootCoreCast. You can follow me there directly at GameBoyGuru. You can also find us on Blue Sky. Just search Shoot the Corecast there. Find all the links to our socials and various feeds on our Linktree page. That's linktr.ee/shootthecorecast. You will also find a link there to our Discord server, which I would highly encourage you to join so that you can join us for a Shmup Club playthrough, get involved, vote on new games, and just join the discussion. We got a lot of good stuff going on in the Discord, a lot of fun folks, a lively community, and so check us out there. Also, if you would follow, rate, subscribe, review, etc. the podcast on whatever platform you use. I just got an email notification the other day about a nice comment on our Spotify page, and so it's nice to keep those coming. I also got an email from Spotify that one of the episodes could be taken down because of one of my parodies. So that's not fun. And if that happens too often, I'll probably end up pulling the podcast from Spotify. But anyway, it helps with the engagement. It helps to make sure that we're getting out there and doing the algorithm thing. Also, follow me on Twitch because I do stream the Shmup Club game multiple times every month, and that is twitch.tv/GuruGameBoy.
whatever happened to the good old days when Spotify would send you emails saying, "We're trying to reach you regarding your car's extended warranty."
Oh, if Spotify was doing that, I would be worried.
You haven't listened to Kenny G lately. Please come back.
Oh man, now I've got Songbird going in my head.
All right, well, let's move on to the focus shot, which was DDP DFK Word Soup. So I got, I was telling you here, I have not had a chance to play very much of this at all. I am currently juggling 6 games, and with the addition of Cotton, that is now 7. So I can say for certain that Cotton is something that is pretty fun. I enjoy playing it. So if you like Proteus and something that is unafraid to be Japanese, definitely go for it. It just is a lot of wacky fun. And there are a heck of a lot of different characters. that you can play as, and it's not afraid to make fun of itself either. It's really, really so much better than Cotton Reboot, and it's a definite evolution of Cotton Rock and Roll. And the story itself is absurd, with Cotton, apparently the world's biggest gathering of willows blew up, and Cotton heads over to Japan land or something far east away from Fairyland, or the Fairy Kingdom to get there. And each time it's going through, she doesn't eat the willow because it has to get big enough, because apparently the regular willows just aren't taking the edge off anymore. So, just like the Dave Chappelle skit, y'all got some of them willows? So it's definitely a lot of fun. It's definitely goofy, and it's definitely very Japanese, which these days is a breath of fresh air.
You too can help Willow feed her drug addiction.
Yes, you can.
Well, I too have not really played any DFK since the last time we recorded. Unfortunately, I've just been busy. I've had a lot of personal stuff I've been doing. Plus, on the gaming front, I finished my Breath of the Wild run, and I told myself, before I go buy the new Star Fox game for Switch 2, I'm going to finally sit down and play Cyberpunk. And so I started that here a little over a week ago, and I'm already several hours into that. So that'll be my new gaming obsession. Plus, I was playing Lunar Silver Star Story for another game club thing. I don't do that very often because we've got our own game club, but every once in a while they have a game that catches my interest, and so I played through that since I bought that Switch compilation of the two games recently, and loved it again, of course. But yeah,
I gotta say, your comments to me when you started playing Cyberpunk were like, have you played this game? Like, yeah, I own 3 copies and I played 15 minutes over the past 4 years since I've owned it. You said, yep, that's on brand for you.
That is on brand for you. That is addicted to a T.
Yeah. It's funny, I feel like this is the first time, because I've been on the podcast a few times now, and usually I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't touch the focus shot, unfortunately, but this time I actually did play a decent amount of the focus shot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was actually, because like I've never really clicked with Dodonpachi, but for whatever reason I decided, I think I was talking to Pearl, and he told me like, oh yeah, like DFK's, it's much easier than the other DDP games, and like if you just do 1.5 B strong style, like it's a very manageable 1-all, and so I decided to start playing that, and I was getting pretty far. Like I was able to get to stage 5, and I felt like I was getting to grips with the game.
Oh, nice.
And then I was playing it, but I decided, I'll do a run or two, and then I'll play a cooldown game. And then the cooldown game that I picked was Cotton Rock and Roll, and then I just ended up playing way more Cotton Rock and Roll and stopped playing DDP. and and then I cleared Rock and Roll after because I usually play in the morning. After a few mornings I cleared Rock and Roll, and I was just like, oh, this game's amazing. I can't wait for the new one. I didn't realize how soon the new one was coming out.
Oh, nice.
We definitely need to get to
I will come back to DFK and get the 1.5 clear, but when is a good question.
Yeah, and see, my problem is I've been bouncing back and forth because I was trying to work out a range A, I was trying to work out Black Label Novice, and I've also been messing with 1.5. You said B strong style, huh?
Yeah, well, 1.5 B strong. I was surprised, even just upon my first couple of runs, how far I was able to get. I feel like with some save state practice, especially on stage 3 and 4, I don't think it'll be too bad to get the clear in that game. And just mastering. Okay, when there's a few things I didn't realize until I watched someone explain it. But like, if you activate your hyper, and then point blank laser, say something like a boss, you'll actually generate a ton more hyper. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah.
So by the time if you do it right, by the time you're done hypering, you'll have almost another hyper ready to go.
Yeah, the proximity thing is weird with the hyper generation.
Yeah, it was cool.
Nice.
Very nice. Thank you, everybody. Let's move on to the shmup news that you can use. The 0.50 beta of the long-awaited Dojin shooter Splois 2 dropped on itch.io as of July 18th. Similar to its predecessor, this is a heavily Gradius-inspired shooter with expanded mechanics. It's free to download, but has only one full path available to play, despite branching paths that are planned for the final release.
Yeah, this has already got a lot of people talking, because, it's been years now since the original released and since this was announced. And this only being a sort of one half of a version, it's still, people are saying positive things about it. So hopefully hopefully the final version will end up being a really, really good game.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah. Games that weren't recently showcased an unfinished single-screen shooter for the Amstrad CPC that was recovered from some discs by Dean Hickinbottom. The game didn't have a name at this point in the development, where the build on the discs was at, but it was being created by David Bradley. It's an early prototype with no enemy bullets, and your ship cannot be destroyed, but you can shoot down enemies through 4 or 5 waves before the game crashes. So not something that most people are going to want to seek out, but cool to kind of see the bones of something like this that, more of a what could have been.
Oh, forget the game. I'm more impressed by the name, Dean Hickingbottom. You should have called it, that should be the name of the game.
Should make a shmup where he's the pilot.
That's a very British name.
A CD-ROM version of the Toho fan game Land of Oracular Zeitgeist. Really doesn't get more Toho than that as far as names go.
Nope.
It is being made available by the developer. Currently, only the game's demo is available on disc. It's unclear if a final version will be released on CD, and the dev's webpage currently states it's being offered mostly as a collector's item. The page also made sure to stress that the CD version will not offer the features of the Steam release, likely to include things like an online leaderboard. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a tradition that official Toho games get released on CD, so when a fan game gets the same treatment, I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah, this would be great to have just a poster in your game about this. People go, what the heck is a Land of Oracular Zeitgeist? Is that a German heavy metal band?
Right? Yeah, it's I love that Toho game names have become such a meme that they're almost all a mouthful and difficult to say. And I just love that for some reason.
Keep it going. I'll be the dog sitting in there with a room on fire saying this is fine.
Yeah.
Taito's unique multi-dimensional shooter Civalion released to arcade archives on July 16th. While the original arcade release had trackball and control panel for movement, the arcade archive version supports mouse controls to include the Switch 2 Joy-Con mouse mode functionality.
I should I have to double check, but this game has like something like 100 endings.
What?
And yeah, it's nuts. This game is crazy. It's also got a ton of different routes, and like I remember I was playing it and I loaded into the second level, and for some reason I had the Silver Hawk from Darius just like flying alongside me blasting stuff.
Huh.
Because I picked this up on the Taito Milestones 4. There's like a physical version of the Arcade Archives.
Yeah.
Stuff. And it's the English ROM, but I'd have to check. That from what I remember, the English ROM did not have all the endings translated, but I think Hamster might have gone ahead and like translated the rest of the endings.
Oh, that would be cool.
I also know that there's a guy in Japan who runs a company called Far East Pinball, and he creates like, you know, mods and hardware for pinball and games and stuff, and he actually creates an adapter so you can use the Taito Egret 2 trackball and spinner on the Switch, so you could play this with like a trackball like how it was in the arcade.
Oh, that is awesome.
I want the arcade controls for Hyperbowl plugged into this. That would be fun. Have you seen? Do you remember what Hyperbowl is?
No.
Most people remember for the bowling game that was with Windows XP Plus, where you're rolling a bowling ball down the streets of San Francisco.
Oh.
And there's one where it's in there. It was at not David GameWorks.
Huh.
It was at GameWorks a lot back in the early 2000s, but the controller itself was massive. Like the trackball controller that Microsoft released for kids, where it was just huge yellow ball with like two big blue buttons.
Huh.
If we're gonna go trackball, let's go all in. Don't make it small.
Yeah, go big or go home.
Make it, as Joel would say, make it the size of a Polish man's head.
Right. Well, I know EC has been playing Civalian because he's been posting about it, and apparently has just kind of become enamored with the game. So that's kind of cool. But I'm glad to see this one finally get a proper release.
Yeah, it's cool.
This was not on my bingo card news. Developer Malicious Means has released a near-complete emulator within the Roblox platform to play Battle Gojiguy. The dev states that it is 99.98% complete, though there are still kinks to be worked out.
We need a world record clear in the Roblox edition of Battle Gojiguy.
That would be amazing. I probably won't be able to get my Roblox playing nephew to play Battle Gojiguy this way, but we can dream.
Now, can you actually see the bullets in this version?
I hope not.
Yeah, how would that be fair?
Yeah. The Steam page is up for Cobra Strike from developer Soma Solo. It calls back to the Desert Strike series for inspiration with its angled perspective and mission structure. There is no release date listed, but based upon the trailers, the game looks very far into development.
Yeah, this looks cool.
Mothership Gauntlet is a vertical shooter in development. First time I read this, I almost read this as Ice Ice Scary. So, yes. You got a problem you go all solve it. Yeah, we'll get copyright strike there. All right.
Check out the games.
Yeah. Well, my DJ revolves. All right. Mothership Gauntlet is a vertical shooter in development from Gary Ice Gaming. There's a vertical slice development demo available as play as Name Your Own Price, release on Gary Ice itch.io page. According to the description, the game will feature 9 ships to play, large levels with hundreds of enemies to dispatch, and a rogue-like progression system. This would be something fun to cover on maybe, let's say, December to Remember Caravan event.
Oh. Possibly. The 360 version of Doronpachi Saidaiojo has been recompiled for PC, offering a lower latency way to play the game. It's reduced down to 1 frame of input delay. However, as a consequence of no longer running on the Xbox 360 hardware, the slowdown present in the 360 version is no longer present in the recomp, meaning that the game is harder than originally intended because the CV1000 slowdown is also not present.
This game just can't catch a break.
No. I saw some side-by-side footage comparisons, and yeah, it's pretty bananas. I mean, it's like it's almost Psycho.
I wonder if because the Microsoft stuff they released recently for PC, right? The OG Xbox stuff are just 360. It's a 360 emulator, but the running an OG Xbox emulator. If we can do a 360 emulator, and people have already gotten several games to work on it, right? Or bet how much time before we actually see the 360 ports actively working within a PC.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are playing these games through Xenia anyway. What would be nice is if the people working on the recomps would find a way to try to make that slowdown and the performance commensurate with a 360 itself.
Yeah.
Or at least give you the option to do so. You know, simulate hardware slowdown or hardware limitations versus just allowing it to kind of run uncapped, so to speak. Because there are games that would probably play better on Xenia than they would on real hardware if the frame rates are not capped at 30 or what have you. But for a game like this where you want the slowdown, then obviously that's going to present a major problem.
Mr. Cores are in progress to support Aerofighters Special and Brave Blade. No indication yet as to when they'll be in the Update All script, but hopefully there will be more shmups available on the platform soon. I will say I finally got my Mister. I got a Super Station 1, and I've been really, really enjoying it and loving it. There's a ton of shmups on there already, and there's like so many more that are coming, which is really cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats.
I should save this for the end, but I'll just say it now since we're on the Mister. Is that I was actually on a podcast. D. Tungsten and I were on a podcast, the Sega Dudes podcast, talking about the Mister here a few weeks ago. And so it was a fun episode to record and a lot of good discussion.
Nice.
Astro Bounty from Weepill Games is a forthcoming horizontal shooter on Steam. You pilot a helicopter that can point left or right to fire at enemies from both directions and collect coins from down foes to spend the shop to upgrade your craft. No release date yet is listed yet. So is this Choplifter Cross Fantasy Zone?
No, actually, it looks like it was heavily inspired by Mr. Heli, but in fact, when I asked the developer that on the Reddit post, the response I got was, I've never heard of this game, but it looks good, and I can see why you would think that it was inspired by that. But yeah, it really looks like a widescreen Mr. Heli with some other stuff thrown in. So if that sounds like your jam, then it might be worth checking out.
This sounds pretty good. I'm waiting for somebody to do a HD remaster of Rock On.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dearly beloved. Oh, jeez.
Oh, yes. we need the HD remaster of Blazing Lasers first, because we need our Tex-Mexium.
That is true.
M2 is holding an event to celebrate their 10th anniversary, and an in-person component is available. It's being held at a venue called Esports Style Ueno in Tokyo. The promotional pictures for the event highlight a character from Senjin Aleste, so there is speculation, let me stress that, speculation, that M2 may announce a home version of the game, though nothing has been confirmed. The event will include a live stream as well. As much as I would like to see a home version of Senjin Aleste, my question is, where's Alesta Branch?
My question is, can you do a parody of All About the Pentium saying it's all about the Tex-Mexium, and will we get in trouble for it?
Yeah, where's the Lester Branch? Where's Fever on School?
Right? Where's Zelesta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love if they could port Sentinelesta. I did get to play it at an arcade once, and it was pretty cool. I'd love to play more of it. So fingers crossed.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been tempted to do the Techno Parrot thing and check it out, but I've held off because I'm like, no, they're going to bring it home at some point. I don't want to spoil the experience for myself. If I end up getting to go to Japan at some point before we get a home port of Sentinelest, I will seek it out in an arcade and play it there. But I'm trying to be a good boy.
Well, hopefully they'll bring it.
Yeah.
Or announce some other new stuff. That I think they did mention. I don't remember. Off the top of my head, I don't remember where I read it, but M2 did say that like part of this event, or there was something mentioned about M2's working on something new with Taito.
Oh.
And everyone was like, what could that be? Because like as far as M2 SCG goes, because they've already done so much. I mean, there's only a handful of Taito shmups left, and I don't know if they would warrant an M2 Shot Triggers release, but
I mean, unless they did a small compilation of some of the leftovers, stuff like Gecko Dindon and Grid Seeker.
maybe. Yeah.
I mean, Metal Black has already had an Arcade Archives release, and it was on one of the Taito Milestones collections.
The Milestone collections, yeah.
But, it would be kind of cool to see that in an M2 emulation layer with some of their extras like save states and all that.
Yeah, or maybe an arrange mode. And Metal Black could really use an arrange mode, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would definitely like to see that too. So I don't know. It's interesting, but and maybe it's not an STG. It's possible that it's something else from Taito.
Densha to Go collection.
There we go.
Or like a Roston collection or something.
Yeah. Well, all the Roston games were in Milestones 3, I think.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's probably off the table.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Huh.
I think it's probably a huge Darius collection that they're doing, where we've got Billy Bass version of Great Thing.
Yep.
Wow.
Darius collection.
The Darius Collector's Collection.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got the previously mentioned Switch release of Changeable Guardian Estique will be getting a physical release complete with a limited edition that will include a mini art book, an acrylic standee, and 4 instructional cards. It will also include both the Japanese and Western versions of the game, which have differing story scenarios. The Japanese physical version is set for a November 26th release. This game looks really cool. I haven't obviously haven't played it yet, but it looks quite promising.
Yeah. I really need to break out the NES version that I bought and give it some time.
I was supposed to play the Switch version, but doing the podcast tonight definitely took priority. And thank you for Gojiguy for coming on again. So if I can pry myself away from Cotton, I'll add this as my 9th or 10th game I'm currently playing. But it's definitely there. So, jeez, yes. Darn you, Steam sales. All right. Blast Horizon is a forthcoming vertical shooter from Gil Zussman. A Steam page is up to wishlist now. It appears to have a heavy emphasis on its graphical look, and it has an angled perspective to the 3D entries in the Ray series. No release date is specified.
July 25th was the 40th anniversary of Xanac for the MSX. And to celebrate, GitHub user MG Malheiros, hopefully I'm saying that right, has released a what was dubbed as a clean room reverse engineering of the game's code for study. That's kind of neat. I mean, maybe look and see how the game was coded, learn about, because that game has dynamic rank and I won't say sophisticated enemy AI, but certainly has something that kind of approaches that. And so it'd be kind of neat to see just how that's implemented.
Every time I see Xanac, I keep seeing like this bad infomercial from the 80s there where the lightning striking the guy. If you're in severe pain, take 2 Xanac. Now a 40% more Retsin.
Is it a pain medicine or a breath mint?
Oh, maybe both. The red pill is the pain medicine, and the blue pill is the breath mint. If you, like Mentos, you put it with Coke and it explodes. That's how they get the bombs.
Oh, jeez.
Let me see here. A tech demo has been released by an unknown developer showing a Star Fox logo on screen as well as a rotating ship sprite running on a Virtual Boy emulator. It's not clear whether or not this means a true Star Fox port to the Virtual Boy is in progress, but it would be fun to see this happen for real.
Now everybody can get headaches and get sickness when you do a barrel roll.
This just seems like low-hanging fruit. Almost like, why hasn't somebody done this already? So if whoever did this mock-up isn't going to do it, I have a feeling someone else will.
The aforementioned Raiden core for Mr. is nearing completion and should be in the Update All script soon, if not released by the time this episode is up.
The Starfight Rebellion is a new vertical old-school shooter in development by Rod Barenko, utilizing a new custom programming language called Fluxa. There's no demo yet, and early footage looks very simplistic, but it evokes a 90s DOS shooter kind of vibe.
That happened to me last time I changed out the batteries in a couple of my Game Boy games. I used too much Fluxa. All right, bad joke on. All right. Our Gear. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Gojiguy.
Our Gear, the canceled sequel to Rayforce, has been released as a standalone purchase, separate from the pre-order bonus from the Ray's Arcade Chronology. I believe this is Japan only, right? Or did it get a release over here too?
That's a good question. I was going to mention that, so thank you for including that. I saw that it had been released in Japan. I have not seen yet whether it's available here. But that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, because I did try to buy it from the Japan eShop, but I didn't have any credits. I couldn't use my credit card.
Oh, right.
On the Japanese eShop. So then I was like, oh, well, maybe it'll get released on the North American eShop soon. I don't know. I hope so, because, we were both lamenting earlier how we're still waiting on our strictly limited pre-orders for Rays.
Right. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything online that shows that our gear is available. So I guess be watching for it on the North American and other region shops. But yeah, for now, it seems like it's Japan only.
Was that actually included in the standard release, or is that limited edition only, or?
I think it was just a pre-order bonus that if you pre-ordered the game, might have been from Amazon Japan, you would get it, or it's supposed to be included in the physical version from Strictly Limited.
Okay.
So for those who have received their standard physical edition, it might be there, but it might have been with the limited edition only. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's all of them. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Is it? Yeah. To be honest, when I got that, I was like, "Oh, great! I already own this game on Steam," and I threw it inside of a box because I had completely forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So, I thought for a while there, I thought that someone was trying to play a Practical Joke or something on there, and I looked and said, "Oh, wait, no, it's actually a game I ordered from Strictly Limited."
Right.
Which still beats out Dispatch.
Well, yes, we were having that conversation earlier as well.
UK publisher Lost in Cult is doing a PS5 physical release of the recent arena shooter Sectori, complete with special edition, includes the soundtrack CD and other goodies, is estimated to begin shipping Q1 2027. Just missing that cutoff time.
Yeah.
For the PS5.
Heavenly Gathering of Clouds is a forthcoming Toho fan game from Dream Compass. It is being developed inside the PH3SX shooting game engine and is Dream Compass's third game. According to the preview video on the Steam page, it will also incorporate a classic Toho fan soundtrack. No release date is listed.
Phase Break is a new 2.5D shooter from Peter Walker 78, available from the dev's itch.io page. The game has 6 stages, 3 boss fights, and original music. The page does mention that Claude AI was used for some coding and art, but the developer seems to have done the rest.
It's nice of Claude to help out. Alright. Truckstun Extreme has launched and has received relatively good reviews despite the 16:9 vertical presentation. Physicals are supposed to begin shipping in late August. And this game I have seen like everywhere. If it's on sale or pre-ordered at Target, I know that it's got a wide reach.
Yeah. Yeah, mine, I'm supposed to be getting mine on August 24th, according to Amazon. And I did confirm, yes, our gear is included in even the standard physical. So if you got a standard physical of Ray's from Strictly Limited, then you should have a copy of our gear to mess with.
Yeah, I just got my copy of Truxton Extreme today. And I've only played a little bit, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a little on the easy side, but it's still fun, and it's probably the most fun I've had with a vertical game that nice. I can think of.
Nice.
It's got nice fast movement, which really helps.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, especially with the speed up thing, because of course, with a lot of toe plan games, you can continue to collect speed ups and get to an absurd level. And so I feel like that sort of system would work well with a vertical like this. And so it's much more conducive to that kind of setup than your traditional standard vertical shooter.
Yeah. And it's got speed control too, so you can rev up and down.
Oh, right, yeah. Cambria Software is doing another shooting game, this time called Orpheus Fighters. Based on the description from the game's itch.io page, the game was developed to mimic the style of early 3D polygon shooters like Starblade and Sylphid. It's very early in development, but early builds can be downloaded to try. And yeah, this looks very Sylphid. So that's kind of cool.
I almost read that as Odyssey Fighters, and it made me thinking of someone trying to do like a 3-hour long shmup caravan. Imagine a shmup caravan mode that lasts as long as a game of Monopoly or longer.
Oh, man.
Oh, no thank you.
Voxon Photonics shared a preview of a new shmup based on voxel art, but using a volumetric display so you have a large field of vision and can see the action from several vantage points. It's called Project Overdrive and looks like what you might imagine a cross between Star Wars Arcade and Resogut might be. currently appears to be just a proof of concept. I watched the video for this and it like blew my mind.
Yeah.
I could not comprehend it.
It looks insane.
Yeah, like I guess this company is like specializes in volumetric displays, but it looked like they were playing a hologram. And wow, if you haven't heard of this, just check it out. Look at the video. It was something out of a sci-fi movie. Very, very cool.
I was just gonna say, did you ever see Star Trek 4?
Actually, I don't think I have.
There's a scene toward the beginning of the movie where Spock or Kirk, one of them, maybe both of them, they're looking for bones. Because in the third movie, and I'm going to nerd out for a second, but in the third movie, or what was it? In the, it might be the third movie. I don't remember. Anyway, in one of the movies, there's a scene where they're looking for bones because Spock had basically transferred his knowledge or whatever into Bones with a mind meld before he died, and basically blew Bones' mind, and he kind of went a little cuckoo. And anyway, they're looking for him, and he was kind of off in this little bar. And in the scene, there's this short shot of a couple of people playing what is basically an arcade game, but it's like a 3D dogfight. And this reminds me so much of that, where it looks like you can see it from different angles, different perspectives, and it looks like realistic, not like hyper realistic graphics, but realistic motion and physics and everything in this sort of 3D space. And yeah, my mind was blown when I saw that as well. And so I'm like, if this ever happens, you think about the Sega Coliseum from back in the day, and how when you first saw it, it's like, it's pretty mind-blowing. But then once the novelty wears off, it's like, okay, yeah, this is kind of cool, but it's sort of limited. This looks like it has way more application for cool game stuff that you could do with it. And so I would love to see this develop into something real.
Changeable Guardian Estate. Oh, not this again. Changeable Guardian Estate has released to Steam as of August 5th. If you didn't say this is a shmup, people would think you were talking about some sort of like Sailor Moon or some sort of Barbie thing on here. Changeable Guardian Barbie has released to Steam as of August 5th.
What, you don't like Barbie in mecha armor?
Mecha Barbie. I know someone's gonna. Oh jeez, yes, we're starting up a new line of shirts, Mecha Barbie here.
Go Mecha
and all
Barbie.
Sorts of ways. Oh yeah. Oh jeez. We're all apparently tonight's episode will be called 1001 Ways to Get Sued.
Yeah. Developer Rocky is in progress developing a Cave 1000 Mr. Core, or CV1000. The build is still early and there's no sound yet, but already playable are Mushihime-sama, Ibara, and the puzzle game Mushihime Tama. It's currently only available from Rocky's Patreon, but hopefully once the build is near complete, it will roll into the update all process.
I think he actually just released a new test build.
Oh yeah? Because this was news I saw, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, this might have been from yesterday. This is crazy. It looks like it's running at full speed.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully it won't be too long and we start to see other games playable and sound working and all of that.
What the heck is it? So I just got sent something for it looks like it's a shmup game called No Need for Flowers. Have you heard of this?
Nope.
It's a dragon shmup, but looking at the patterns, they look Toho-ish, but it's all flowers.
No need for flowers. Let me look. Oh, yeah, this literally just released today.
Yeah. Colorful bullet patterns as you shoot downwards. You know what grinds my gears? I feel like,
Oh, this is totally Toho. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
This
is very Toho. Well, then we should just add it to the list here.
But I mean, it's Toho, yes. But what intrigues me more is that the developer is it's a female developer, which is pretty rare.
Yeah.
Amanda Konish.
Yep.
So that itself is impressive to see a female created shmup. Maybe there's more than I'm not aware of, but
right.
Usually the realm of laser shoot things, boom, things go boom, falls under, typically a male hobby, but this impressive.
Right. It's sort of
Omegato.
It does sort of look like the character art does sort of look like My Little Pony, but with dragons. So, My Little Dragon, whatever. But yeah, actually this looks cool.
Yeah. All right. That just popped up tonight here. So.
Yeah.
And I still have to get back to, was it Zaygrader?
Oh, yeah, Zaygrader.
Is Zaygrader, okay. Because now, ever since we started reading the Toho stuff with the German now, everything wants to pronounce with a very, very, very bad German accent and just start yelling halfway through.
Right?
Zaygrader!
Okay. Wirehawk from developer Trax is a forthcoming vertical shooter on Steam. The dev bills it as a retro boomer shmup, and the visual style is reminiscent of the vector graphics games in arcades during the 1980s. It's slated for a November 2026 release.
The amount of different classifications still amazes me that if you say, yes, it's a retro boomer shmup, don't you understand? What? Alright, yeah. Spriggan Mark II for the PC Engine CD-ROM has been translated to English by Naju. Based on details from a Time Extension article, all cutscenes are subtitles and all menus and other in-game text have been translated as well. The patch can be downloaded from the ROM hacking website. I would like to see this game translated into English, please. What you say?
All your Spriggan are belong to us. Developer Bibulus has released a new shmup via itch.io called Devil Drive Polaris. It's a single-stage shooter developed for the latest TWJ Game Jam. This can be freely downloaded from the game page and is even compatible with Steam Deck and Linux via Proton. There was a comment on the game page that I saw from someone who downloaded it who said, yeah, my computer is flagging this as a virus and whatnot, and Bibulus had already or had posted a reply saying, thanks for letting me know. I submitted it to Microsoft so the Defender should no longer flag it as, suspicious, and then hopefully then the rest of the security companies will follow suit soon. But anyway, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you ask him if he recently purchased the LG monitor that he connected to his PC? That may be it too.
RS34 has announced Karos, the Blur of Revenant, or Revenant, I don't know, New Order for PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. This is a remake of the 3DS title, Karos, the Beast of Re-Eden. There's a campfire crowdfunding campaign set to launch on August 8th, and the PC version is a stretch goal. The base campaign hopes to raise 2.5 million yen, with the 2.8 million mark for the PC version. The console releases are slated for a January 2027 release, and the PC version would drop in March. Physical versions are planned for PS5 and Switch, including a limited edition. This is kind of funny because, I mean, correct me if I'm off base, but this is considered like the worst quote unquote milestone game, I think.
Oh, is it really?
I remember when it came out because it was after Milestone had closed and I guess RS34 or whoever had taken over and like developed this game for 3DS, and I just remember it being very, very poorly received.
Huh.
And I was quite disappointed. And then they've since gone on to make, good new games. But yeah, this was like a black sheep in the series as far as I know. So I wonder how different it'll be.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll include the original game, but then, add some additional content or do some tweaking so that they can make it, improved and more what they want.
It appears a physical version of Shock Triggers is coming. Based upon a tweet from the developer, there's no publisher announced, but since East Asia Soft published Shinu Real Art's previous Wings of Blue Star and created physical release, it's not a stretch to assume this may follow the same path.
Yeah, Shinu Real Arts tweeted this out, mock-up basically of Shockwave Triggers box and all of that stuff, and said things are happening. So when the dev tweets it, I'm gonna take that as something's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I haven't tried that game yet, but it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet either, but I want to.
You got that song playing in my head thanks to that. What's happening here? Everybody stop. Hey, what's that sound? Yeah.
Okay.
I know, I'm nuts and I'm caffeinated, so things happen.
That's true. Final bit of news is something that was definitely not on my bingo card, which is that a teaser trailer has dropped for Caladrius 2 Dark Element. There's little info on the game so far, and no game footage has been shown yet, except for in the teaser, there's a little bit of like obscured footage showing some transitional stuff, cutscene type of things. It's being developed by Kaminari Games on behalf of Moss, and the only detail mentioned in the trailer is that the shame breaks are still an element in the sequel. Now, I did, subsequent to dropping this bit of news in the Discord, I have seen a couple of tweets that had screenshots. And I would say, it looks like you would expect it to look in terms of the ships, the art, etc. And so, I feel like Raiden 4, Raiden 5, Caladrius, they're all good-looking games, but they're not mind-blowing. And I would say the same about this. Now, of course, I can't really judge it much based on 2 or 3 screenshots, but, I think just like those games look good, this one will very likely look good as well. And so, anyway, was not expecting that.
If it's anything like Chino Dragon or what's that? The Dragon Maid game.
Oh,
help me out on that one.
Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Chorogon Breath, or something like that.
Yeah, that game was. I don't know. You know how some people are ashamed? Well, I'm ashamed I bought that game.
That was Moss's B team probably doing that one, huh?
I'd rather be playing Raiden Nova.
I think that was also Kaminari.
Was it?
I think so. I know that Kaminari's track record isn't great. I never played the original Caladrius. I hope this is good, but...
Yeah. The original Caladrius is one that I do eventually want to cover, despite the shame breaks, just because...
It's okay, yeah.
I know that it's generally well regarded. It's going to have some of the same DNA as Raiden 5, which I do like. And I know Aquas quite enjoyed Caladrius. And so that'd be a good excuse to get him on the podcast, because I know he knows the game well. And so anyway,
You know, I just think that Aquas is a glutton for punishment. Especially after playing all that pink sweets. But it's the nice thing if you're looking forward to play the original Caladrius, if you go to Fanatical, which is official key reseller, but they're based in Europe. So if you're in the U.S. like I am, you won't have to pay tax. I think they regularly have the Caladrius for Steam on sale. I think I paid $3.50 or something like that for a copy of.
yeah, and I want to say that goes on sale on Steam reasonably often anyway.
Yeah, I know it did have a physical back in the day, but I don't know how.
Limited run. Yeah, the PS3 Japan, they had a PS4 limited run, which was before they added the ESRB, and then it received a Switch release, which you can get through East Asia Soft or Play Asia or your local importer.
Right.
And that came with a steelbook, a really weird steelbook too.
Yeah. Caladrius Blaze PS4 version from Limited Run Games was the second PS4 game I ever purchased. And it was actually that and the first one, which was the Darius Burst Chronicle Saviors. Both of those I bought before I even owned a PS4 because I knew if I didn't buy them, I might miss out. And then, of course, subsequently, they've done the Switch release, and that's been more widely available. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, see, I thought your first PS4 game was Deep Space Waifu.
No, that has been PC only.
And it shall stay there.
Well, yeah, and now that it's been delisted, I'm guessing that the PC graveyard is where it shall remain.
It's like Pepperidge Farm, only we shall remember.
Oh, jeez.
All right, and so let's move on to our shmup game of the month that we played for June of 2026. Our participants were Pony Trigon, The Orange, Desolus, Gojiguy, Orc Commander, Skosh, Tetraphobia, DL Wraith, Master Who, That Fight Music, oh, I like that one, Eat Electric Death, Schlarp, Rogue Like. It sounds like his enemy from Zelda, right? It's Rogue Like.
Yes.
Corkman77, Danny, Bezwin, Mimo, and Samsonite STG, the best luggage you can buy. So, we played RayCrisis in the month of June 2026. So, brief introduction here. RayCrisis is a vertical scrolling 3D graphic shooter, basically polygonal shooter, that was developed and published in 1998 on Taito on their GNet arcade platform. Other shmups released on GNet hardware include Night Raid, Cyveriar, Medium Unit Cyveriar, Revision, Shikigami no Shiro, Space Invaders Anniversary, and XII Stag, or is it ZI?
It's 12 Stag.
12 Stag, yeah, thank you. Some shmups received unofficial GNet conversions around the hardware, such as Raystorm and G Darius, as well as Aero Fighter Special, Sonic Wings Limited, and Rising's Brave Blade. It's the third and final release from Taito in the Ray series of games. So from a story perspective, it's a prequel to the first game in the series, Ray Force. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is also the first in the series that is polygonal, right?
No, Raystorm was polygonal.
Raystorm was?
Yes.
I thought that was sprite.
No, Ray Force was sprites.
Okay. Yes, the other left. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. No, the other Ray game. All right. The game released on PlayStation in Japan in April 2000, published by Taito. Working Designs picked up title North American distribution under their Spaz imprint and released it in November 2000. The game was called RayCrisis Series Termination. You know, I'm not sure if you ever seen one of those pitch meetings where the guy has this recurring bit where he's being pitched and they make fun of the movie and he's on there, and I just see them playing there. So you got another race series game for me, eh? Yes, and those are making a lot of money. We're gonna get to keep making those for years and years. What's this one called? RayCrisis Serious Termination. Oh, so it's sort of like, okay, it's like, well, we're not making any more of those. So a Windows release of the game followed in 2001, published by Cyberfront Corporation. It's essentially a port of the PS1 release. The PS1 version was added to the PlayStation Network in July 2008 for download on the Sony-compatible consoles. So make sure you grab it before the store closes. A mobile version of the game was published on Android and iOS on August 2017, but was delisted at some point later. RayCrisis received an updated HD version courtesy of M2 as part of the Ray's arcade release chronology, which contains all 3 games in the Ray series together in a single package. Taito also published the Raystorm Cross RayCrisis HD package for a lesser price for those interested in only those 2 games. Ray's Arcade Chronology, released in March 2023 for PS4 and Switch, installed Steam release in September 2023. And so I would make the case here that the Ray series or the Ray's trilogy is sort of the forgotten child of Taito. If you talk to someone about Taito, they're going to say, oh yeah, Space Invaders. Or if they're more of a shmup enthusiast, they're going to say, oh yeah, Darius.
Right.
But you don't really hear much about this. It's sort of the unsung or forgotten trilogy. So it's nice to see that M2 went back and redid the ports. So let's move on to the story. There are some minor differences in the story of the arcade release versus PlayStation release. The arcade story has work on the Con-Human Neural Network System, a system created using technologies which obliterate the boundaries between man and machine, and connecting all the computers in the world has now been completed. The combination of all technologies that went into making the system brought a revolution in the worldwide resources leading to the century of the machines, or the MC age. Mankind, which now has mastered the technologies needed to colonize the planets to deal with growing population, has pinned its hopes on the colonization of planets and set forth legions of spaceships to begin a voyage of exploration. Almost 100 years have passed. Now, here's what I want. If this is the 90s, right, and he's connected all these systems, can't someone just pick up the phone and disconnect it?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine...
What if the handshakes don't go through?
I would imagine that Con-Human was more advanced than AOL.
Oh. They should put that on there. Con-Human, more advanced than AOL. Let's ship that shirt.
I love it.
MC0098. Reports from expeditions to the outer planets state that I just picture all these discs lined up that have it says Con-Human on them.
Right.
All these giveaway they're people using for coasters now. All right. Sorry. MC0098 reports from expeditions to the outer planets state that they have been unable to find any plants suited for human colonization, thus effectively bringing the plans for colonization to an unexpected stop. Plans that were made for the colonization of the satellite Celia, which had been implementation at the same time, finally began in reality. This, however, forced Con-Human to begin to search for a way to ensure that mankind could continue to live on forever, and the paradoxes born from the internally ensured existence of mankind, the lack of a way that would coexist could be ensured in the end, triggered a malfunctioning Con-Human system. MC0108, the mechaneurologist. That's what, if someone ever asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a mechaneurologist. I was busy at the time performing an experiment in which he connected a human clone into the Con-Human system to test his theories of the compatibility between organic and inorganic beings. But in the midst of this experiment, the Con-Human system rejected the connection, and the mind of the clone entered the network. I wonder if like Neo, it learned Kung Fu too. While this experiment was being performed, Con-Human discovered a new way by which the continued existence of mankind can be ensured by fusing together man and machine, and after reaching the conclusion that ought to protect the pseudo life forms which resulted from the fusion of mind and machine, it chose to eliminate the humans from the equation. It chose to separate the mind from what it considered unnecessary, which were human bodies. Really did feel like they were writing the Matrix here, didn't it? Soon after the end of this disastrous experiment, Con-Human began to utilize the world's military resources to implement the greatest massacre ever known to human history. The mechaneurologist then connects himself in the Con-Human system and penetrates the network in order to stop the control inside the world of the network created by the virtual reality. Therein, he comes into contact for the consciousness of the clone, which has been incorporated into the network. That consciousness, however, has begun to live as a new life form and attack without discrimination any and all external enemies which find their way into the network. In the end, consciousness has begun to penetrate into the emergency control panel program, which served to protect Con-Human from its external enemies. You know, I was wondering, if this whole story ended up like War Games, where it's the only way to win is not to play, this would have been very short.
Yes.
Will he begin to bring Con-Human back under control, or will he fail? The crossroads of destiny are only a step away. Why does it feel like that line belongs in a Soul Calibur game? Will you step into the crossroads of destiny?
Yes. And we've already covered Kamui on the podcast, but you can absolutely see the DNA for Kamui's story in this. And so we already know that Ray Force was an inspiration for Kamui, but I think the whole Ray trilogy story had to have been an inspiration for the story of Kamui.
Yeah, and you can definitely see also within this game, I don't know what it is, but sometime in the 90s people discovered that green, a certain shade of green shall be known as cyber green. And it just went through until the end, even with, at the end of the 90s with the Matrix. Everything had to be that shade of green. And then all of a sudden we also had to have wireframe globes that also signaled cyber.
Yep.
I don't know. Okay, so let's move on to the PlayStation story. The elimination of the human race began as a malfunction of the worldwide Con-Human neurocomputer network. A rogue scientist named Leslie McGuire, determined to create the ultimate neural interface between man and machine, cloned herself, directly violating the genetic sanctity law of 2119, and hardwired the clone's mind directly into Con-Human. McGuire didn't anticipate what would happen next. Con-Human's AI took control of the clone's consciousness and miraculously achieved sentience. I think that's the same thing they're trying to do with AI currently. Miraculously achieve sentience.
Good luck.
However, Con-Human was unable to understand the complexity of human emotions and mysteries of existence. Look, I'm still having problems with the mysteries of existence. As a result, this Con-Human drove itself to insanity. Well, that sort of is the human way.
Indeed.
Lost in a maze of its own created mind, Con-Human managed to gain control of all of Earth's military might and use it against its creators, who cursed it with self-awareness. I wonder if it used flock cameras. Within weeks, all but a few million of Earth's 13 billion inhabitants have been killed. The remaining population escaped into a series of subterranean cities, aided by the Mole Man, which had been constructed to guarantee human survival in a likely event of the collision between Earth and a giant asteroid. Yes. The great meta underground cities or bunkers. Once underground, the remaining humans formulated a plan to colonize nearby planets to escape Con-Human's genocidal rampage. With the deep space allied armies providing assistance, humanity gained air superiority over Con-Human and began shuttling humans across the solar system. After 20 years of great fighting, all the humans who wanted to leave have been evacuated from the ravaged planet they once called home. In all, over 500 colonization vessels and 260 orbital vessels escaped the grip of Con-Human. The idealistic humans who stayed behind on Earth believed they could disable Conhuman to regain control. The struggle against Conhuman was difficult, and progress was extremely challenging to gauge because Conhuman was continuously evolving. The futility of attempting to disable Conhuman soon became evident. It was decided that Conhuman's existence posed a threat to the future of mankind and humankind everywhere in the universe. Feels like I'm setting up for Voltron here. Alright. An assault plan, codenamed Operation Meteor, was implemented. It was a complete failure. Oh, that's because they didn't have Aerosmith do the cover. If you're going to go do something like Operation Meteor and have it be a success, you need Aerosmith. Armageddon proved that.
That's right, because when you're using giant laser beams to shoot down asteroids or spaceships and stuff, remember, you don't want to miss a thing.
That is true. So Operation Meteor was a complete failure, with over 7% of assault vessels being destroyed by Conhuman's core. It was still active, and Earth's populace was discovered by Conhuman and ripe for annihilation. A last-ditch effort has now been created to attack Conhuman's consciousness directly through the use of special computer virus modules called Wave Riders. These vessels are tasked with destroying all aspects of Conhuman's mind before it can eliminate the rest of Earth's people. Assuming this operation is successful, an additional operation will resume the attack and hopefully will exterminate Conhuman for good. This is a long way around to say that Conhuman detecting you and your detection level or how fast you can shoot enemies determines rank.
I mean, you're not wrong in a manner of speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole gist is you're basically a virus in Conhuman trying to disable it, right? And the more quickly you shoot through enemies on there, the lower your rank is, which one gets you to TLB, right? If it's 50% or so, you get the mid ending where you fight in the 90s cyberspace, which is basically spears as you spin around and start destroying the ship, which makes it really, really hard to get a good grasp on what levels you're able to shoot your regular shot and stuff, but we'll get into that later. And then anything higher there, if it gets to 100%, it's automatic game over. Well, yeah, if it gets to 100%, I think you automatically get sent to the boss. We'll get into that. Speaking of which, jumping into gameplay, just to kind of get us kicked off here. RayCrisis is a 3-button game. 1 button fires your main forward weapon, and this does include auto fire. 1 button fires your lock-on shot, which of course is the game's primary conceit. And then 1 button deploys a bomb-style attack in the game, which is known here as the round divider. As I mentioned, the primary attack vector in the game is the lock-on shot. You use the targeting reticle, which is positioned out in front of your ship, and you can target enemies that are on a lower plane than your ship itself. Even when targeted enemies come up to your level, as long as they have been targeted, you can still fire upon them with that lock-on shot. Now, if you fail to target an enemy with the lock-on reticle prior to reaching your plane, they can usually no longer be targeted, and you got to take them out with your forward shot. Or drop your round divider. You can lock on to multiple enemies at a time and fire a single volley, which will damage or destroy them all. Depending upon the ship chosen, the maximum number of allowable lock-ons will vary. And also, you'll need to upgrade the lock-on laser as you progress to increase the number of lock-ons that you can do to whatever the ship's maximum is. If you max out all lock-ons on a single target with at least 2 of the 3 ships, then the resulting blast that you create will be upgraded to the hyper laser, which, from what I understand, will sometimes cancel bullets within the radius of the explosion.
I found that to be inconsistent. And maybe you can speak to that Gojiguy, but it's like a more powerful version of the attack, essentially.
Yeah. I don't know about the bullet canceling. I know what you mean by it feeling inconsistent, or if it just had to do with like some enemies and not bosses or something like that. But it definitely creates an explosion that sits around for a while.
Yeah.
And which can be really useful for basically it's almost like a bomb. It also does provide a good enemies that are destroyed by that explosion grant more points as well. I forget exactly how many, but it is useful for scoring in that sense.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. There are 3 wave riders, as we mentioned, or ships in the game. The WR-01R is a red ship that has a forward shot with a mild spread, which can be upgraded to provide decent damage, especially when you're point blanking. The lock-on laser fires out as a directed homing laser, at least targeted enemies or location or what have you, up to a maximum of 8. And the ship starts with the ability to lock on to 5 targets at once. And then once deployed, the lock-on shot will fire upon all targets at the same time. The WR-02R is a blue ship, which has a twin laser forward shot that does minimal damage, but is a constant stream of laser beam. Its lock-on is the Thunder laser that fires out from the ship and then snakes across from target to target. Once deployed, if you haven't fully reached the target limit, you can continue to target enemies as the laser moves from foe to foe and continue to fill the lock-on counter. It's a powerful laser, but because of the slower deployment and movement across objects, it can sometimes leave you vulnerable. This ship has...
That sounds like a bad pickup line. Hey, baby, I'm a constant stream of laser beam.
Jeez. Yes. And also has a maximum lock-on count of 16. And then WR-03 is a red ship that is only accessible via secret code or by clocking a set amount of time on the arcade board. If you want to unlock it right away, you enter up, right, down, up, left, shot, and then laser after inserting a credit to unlock it. Now, note that on the arcade version, you have to do this every time you play, unless the ship has already been unlocked based on hours played. It also plays quite a bit differently than the other two. Its main weapon is a homing missile barrage that fires out from the ship on all sides, and as you upgrade, it adds more missiles, and it fires out in all directions. It's not overly powerful, but once you're fully upgraded, it can still pack a punch. The lock-on weapon is a photon torpedo. This maxes out at 24 possible lock-ons, but there's no hyper laser effect for achieving a full lock-on with this ship.
Wait, are we going to get sued by Paramount for mentioning this?
I don't think so.
Isn't that Star Trek?
That is Star Trek, yeah.
Okay. Can't we just say proton torpedo or something? Let's just make it slightly off so we don't get sued.
Well, it'll be Taito who will get sued because they did this in the 90s.
Oh, fair enough. That's okay. I'm okay with them being sued.
Yeah. There are 3 main items you can collect by destroying power-up carriers and then red ships throughout the different stages. The red power-up items will upgrade your forward shot by 1 level. The teal power-up items increase the number of lock-on lasers by 1. And then the blue power-up, which will upgrade both the main shot and the lock-on lasers by 3. And if I remember correctly, the blue power-up is only available when you continue.
No, it can show up even if you don't continue.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking I heard that on a video. It might have been somebody that mentioned that on the STG Weekly episode. But okay, good to know. RayCrisis is set up differently from its predecessors. Instead of a static stage layout like you would traditionally get in a shmup, there's a set of stages that are available in the game, and they build different maps for each run. There are 7 total stages in the game. Each map always includes the introductory area, known as function part, and then the next 3 stages are chosen from a series of 5. Stage...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was going to say function part is basically a tutorial, right? It lasts for about less than a minute.
It's a very short stage.
Before.
Yeah, it's very short, and there's no boss fight. And so it's basically just an introduction to the game, giving you an opportunity to kind of learn the lock-on and all of that. Stage type A is known as intelligence part. It is a virtual city with elevated roadways and infrastructure that represents an aspect of Conhuman. The boss in this area is Protor, a large 4-legged walking mech that fires out bullet clusters, targeted burst fire, drones, and waves from a pair of larger drones that emerge from the rear of the main boss body. It has several target areas, including, quote, shoulder armor, its head, the center of its body, and then there are 2 protrusions from its back, kind of like it's almost like, I don't know if you'd call them horns or what, but anyway, after you weaken the boss and it moves into the second phase, which you get, I believe, if this stage is chosen as a stage 3 or stage 4 version, then the primary target is the body center, though you can still target the legs, and you kind of spin around the boss in a kind of strafing fashion while it attacks you. And yeah, the second phase is only when the stage is ranked up, if it's the 3rd or 4th stage in the sequence. Stage type B is called memory part. This virtual area starts up in the clouds and then descends into a desert area. The boss here is called MetalFRO and is a large craft with large arms that extend out from behind and the side, all of which can be targeted. Occasionally, the boss will change position and extend 2 arms out directly in front of you, which can also be targeted. It can fire...
Was this... Sorry, is this the boss that was changeable Guardian Macross?
No. That's a different one.
Ah, okay. Different type of copyright infringement, I guess.
Yeah. It can fire out a spread array of lasers as well as somewhat randomized laser clusters, large bullets, and very large missiles that can track and follow your positions. Those missiles, however, can be targeted and destroyed. And so it's something you may end up having to do during that boss fight. Stage type C is emotion part. This is a mountainous virtual area with oil refineries that lead up to a base structure built inside a mountain. The boss in this area is Semslut or Semslut. I don't know how it was originally supposed to be pronounced, which was renamed to Semstrut for the North American release and Semslim for the European version. This is a large red flying mecha with multiple attack vectors. I'm guessing this is the one you were talking about, the changeable Guardian mecha.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how, I mean, geez, something called Semslut that is brought over to North America, and there's no way that anybody in North America would have ever taken that and ran with that and made that into something inappropriate. That would have never happened. Fuck, man.
Right. Yeah. Now this boss can swing its arm at you and create this large wave effect. It can shoot out bullet spreads. It can shoot out barrages of missiles, And then it creates this series of homing orbs that you have to either shoot or dodge. On higher rank, it also has laser spreads to contend with. Definitely a challenging fight. A stage type D is labeled as Consciousness Part. This is an underwater virtual world filled with large submarine craft and various aquatic threats. The boss here is Semloke, a sort of hovercraft vehicle that has fins along the bottom for movement and gun placements flanking the cockpit. It fires bullet spreads and missiles at you, as well as occasionally firing out a telegraphed laser grid to try and trap you while then firing missiles. Also, sometimes the craft will dive down into the water and release drones that will target your position and fire a large beam at you. If you are caught in the beam once it is fully deployed, you're dead. If you destroy the drones, then you'll have to deal with an additional bullet spread. This boss fight sucks. This is my least favorite boss fight in the game. I struggled with this one so bad. And then stage type E is Consideration Part. It's a large cityscape area over the water with an approach to a large tower. And the boss in this area is also Protor. And so you can actually face Protor twice in the game, depending on your maps that you pick, with basically the same attack types, except at least one of those fights will be more intense. And then the final stage on all maps is Self Part, which is the boss fight against the initial enemy ship Dishuman, which is part of Conhuman's consciousness, I guess. As a prequel to Rayforce, Dishumans is basically a 3D modeled version of the final boss from Rayforce, first game in the series. Its attacks differ somewhat, but it retains some of the same approach with the destructible rings that can destroy your ship, multiple target points, laser spread barrages when it sweeps across the screen, etc. Now, the true final boss of the game is called Infinity, and it's the core of the Conhuman mind. It has an alternating set of attacks in its first phase between large lasers that fire out from its sides along with large bullet spreads while it spins around, and then a phase with orbs along either side that fire out directed lasers. After it has been damaged enough, it will retreat to the background so that only the lock-ons can hurt it, while it fires out drones that will target your ship with missiles and lasers. Something to note, using your round divider during this fight will send a large, basically undodgeable energy orb attack at you. So kind of a bit of a penalty for bombing during the boss. The condition for reaching Infinity in the arcade version is to have your total encroachment percentage be less than 20% by the end of the game, as well as unlocking at least 5 maps during playtime.
Each map is constructed of the function part as an introduction, 3 of each of the lettered stages, and then a dishuman fight at minimum. In order to get the quote-unquote good ending in the game, which is the canon ending that sets up the events of Rayforce, you must face off and defeat Infinity. Stages that are assigned in the second or third position after function part will be ranked up to a harder version of that stage, with a harder version of those boss fights as well. There are 42 possible map configurations based on the number of available stages from which to construct them. Maps will stay unlocked while the PCB is powered on. An entire map list can be unlocked with the code up, right, down, left, shot, 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 laser, bomb, 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 entered after inserting a credit. Encroachment is another of this game's primary mechanics. When you start the game, you begin with a 50% encroachment count. As the stage progresses, defeating enemies will lower the percentage, though allowing enemies to escape will ratchet the number back up somewhat. The faster you can destroy bosses, the better your encroachment number as well. For maximum effect, destroy enemies as quickly as possible and achieve full lock-ons whenever possible to get the largest percentage drop in encroachment. This serves as a functional rank system within the game. The lower your encroachment is, the higher the effective rank. And I'll just add on to this as well that every time enemies enter the screen, it increases encroachment, and when they leave, it increases encroachment. Destroying them reduces encroachment, but the amount that it's reduced is determined largely by how many you have locked on in a chain. You know, like if you individually lock onto and destroy a group of enemies, that will reduce encroachment only by a very small amount. Whereas if you tag a whole group and then launch laser that like gets them all at once, so that you have like a maximum 8 or 16 chain, that's going to reduce encroachment by a lot. The hyper laser also has a big effect on reducing encroachment. And I believe the round divider does as well.
Yeah, it's one of those instances where I feel like Taito was trying to make the scoring integral to the experience of the game.
Yeah. And I'll also say there's something that you know, I didn't realize it until much later, you know, or I think it was even after I got my first clear, which is that the color of the encroachment gauge, which is just a number, actually indicates it's actually communicating something. So each stage technically has checkpoints, because I would be playing through the game and there'd be parts where, you know, I enter stage 2, for example, and all of a sudden it's got a different enemy layout than the last time I played, and I couldn't figure out what was triggering it. And it has to do with the what it calls the network condition. So if the encroachment number is yellow, that means the network condition is yellow and therefore easy, and it'll select the quote-unquote like easy version of the next checkpoint. If it goes to green, it's normal, and it goes to the normal version of that stage's checkpoint. And if it's blue, it'll ramp up the difficulty to the difficult version. So within a stage, it can actually change the enemy layouts, boss patterns, bullet patterns, whatever stage you're moving into next. Depends on what the encroachment gauge says. So yeah, it's a pretty... there's a lot to the system, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember reading that anywhere, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you really focus on lowering encroachment, the whole game gets harder. I mean, it does increase rank as well, but it's also going to kind of like redesign the stages for you on the fly, which is wild.
Yeah.
If encroachment reaches 100% at any point during the game, you will automatically warp to dishuman. Should you prevail in that fight, you will achieve the bad ending. The good ending can be had by simply beating the game normally. In order to get the true ending, you need to reach dishuman with less than 25% encroachment and then defeat dishuman. You'll then face off with Infinity, the true last boss. Otherwise, you'll get a normal clear and achieve the normal ending. One aspect that makes the base arcade game difficult despite its short length is that there are no extends. There are no hidden 1-ups anywhere and no score-based extends that can be achieved. Even if you have excellent lock-ons and very low encroachment, the number of lives you start with is all you have at your disposal. If you haven't found the arcade difficulty challenging enough, you can set the game's rank to maximum by entering the following sequence after inserting a credit. Up, up, down, down, A, B, 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 B. The PlayStation and later PC ports of the game added a special mode which changes up things significantly. Rather than a short runtime of 5 segments, all possible stages are stitched together in a single long run. However, your ship is at full power at all times, and items you can collect include both purple score items as well as blue items that provide extends. You start with no lives, but you can stock up to 9 ships this way. The final segment still concludes with a fight against Dishuman and Infinity. The purple items also serve a secondary function besides just score. Each one you pick up will decrease your encroachment percentage by a small percentage. Though encroachment can climb much faster in this mode, based on enemies leaving the screen or not being destroyed quickly enough. A special mode's quite fun.
Yeah, I got along with that relatively well. I actually cleared that quite quickly. Of course, by that point, I had been playing all month and had learned the stages reasonably well. I could see myself going back to special mode to try and boost my score because I got a scrappy clear of it, and my score was much lower than the others. But now that I had to go back and watch a couple of playthroughs to really see how the scoring works in that. We'll talk about that later, but I could see that being an addictive loop because of how it works. You know, the fact that you can actually earn lives and, you know, have more resources with which to tackle that mode.
Let's move on to the graphics. The second of the Ray series to be developed with 3D graphics, the third tied to a shooter overall in the style, and the presentation is somewhat improved over its predecessor despite being largely bound by the same hardware restrictions. The game is still relatively low polygon, but the team did a commendable job in translating the vision into something that was readable and aesthetically interesting. The weaving together of the cyberspace virtual world concept and various locales and landscapes works better than might on paper, and transitions from area to area or area to boss battles are done where it's obvious the virtual world you're perceiving is materialistically changing and smooth enough that it doesn't feel strange for it to be happening, and why. Yeah, for the most part, it was, you know, nothing was that really stood out. It was very, very 90s cyber. It wasn't quite like weird, like Lawnmower Man. It seemed to fit pretty well and have a cohesive theme, despite having different places on there. It could have just been very well been different planets as well. And I think that the HD version makes it a lot easier to digest on our large screen monitors that we have currently.
Yeah. You know, I did spend some time with this on the PlayStation version. And of course, I've got my PlayStation hooked up through all my capture setup. That includes my output to this little CRT I have sitting in front of me. And I gotta say, this game still looks pretty good.
Yep.
I think games like this, shmups like this, you know, Raystorm, RayCrisis, G. Darius, Einhander, R-Type Delta, etc. These kinds of games, I feel like they have aged a bit more gracefully than a lot of the other 5th generation console stuff with early 3D. You look at something like Tomb Raider or Metal Gear Solid or some of these other games from that era, and they kind of look janky. I still have nostalgia for it, and I think there's a certain charm to that. But obviously, moving into the next console generation was a pretty big leap, and where a lot of those graphics really started to, I'm not going to say look realistic, but it looked more like what they were trying to represent on the screen. Whereas games like this, because the designs are a bit more abstract, a bit more open to interpretation, and because
Picasso-ish.
What's that?
Yeah, like a Picasso painting.
Well,
Picasso-ish.
No, but more like you're not representing human beings, you're doing spaceships. And so you can do all sorts of things with spaceships and make them look cool, even with low poly designs. And so there's a lot more latitude, I'll say, in making the graphics look good and developing them so that these things look in a way that makes sense and that still works in this low poly kind of approach. And so I feel like games like this can still look quite good today, even in their original context of the console hooked up to a CRT, just because it helps to smooth out some of the jagged edges, and especially with the CRT, gives it a little bit more of that organic kind of look to it. And so I feel like it still looks pretty good in that sense. Now the HD version, I do feel like M2 did a good job of cleaning it up and making it look a little bit shinier and so forth, much in the same way that they did with G Darius. It has it's a bit more smoothed out. The polygons look less jagged. You can still tell that it's of its time, but certainly visually speaking, the experience is a bit smoothed out.
Yeah, I could definitely say. Well, how would you equate to? Do you think that it's more we're going from Atari, where you really had to use your imagination, like a 2600, all the way up to the NES, the type of leap you're talking about from PlayStation to PlayStation 2?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly a similar jump. I mean, because I think, not to get too far off topic here, but I think we saw those jumps with each console generation until the PS3 and 360, because it was a big leap from 2600, ColecoVision, and Intellivision up to NES Master System. And then it was another big leap between those and like the TurboGrafx, Super Nintendo, and Genesis. And then again, a big leap up to the next generation of consoles, the Saturn, PlayStation, and maybe the Jaguar or 3DO or whatever. And then again to the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, another big leap. There were more polygons, models looked better, and stuff started to move even smoother and be less jagged edges and all of that. Mm-hmm. And then again to the PS3, everything just looked that much smoother, that much more refined. And I think from that point on, it's only been incremental updates since then. But this is one of those games where I know people sometimes, if you don't have nostalgia for games of this era, the early 3D stuff, it may be hard to go back to some of those games. And it may be more than just the graphics. Sometimes it's control. Some people don't like tank controls or things like that. But if you have access to a CRT to play these games, certainly something like this, where the graphics are not meant to be realistic, but are, particularly with this game because it's depicting this virtual world, that can certainly help to contextualize the experience better and kind of cover up for what might otherwise be jagged graphics that are harder to go back to.
Sure. I could see that. Also, you just gave me, if I ever open a store in the mall, I think I'm going to call it Off Topic. All right, let's move on to the sound. As with other entries, sound effects do the job well enough. Some explosions are big and meaty, chunky explosions. Others are more perfectory. Similar shot and laser sounds don't overwhelm the mix, but properly convey the intended effect. The score in the game takes a different path than the other two Ray games, with a heavier emphasis on drum and bass, as well as melody lines are a bit less conventional from the other games. There's a greater emphasis on ambience and atmosphere in the soundtrack, as opposed to the other two games, which start with very straightforward tracks and slowly build towards something more ominous and atmospheric. Early tracks are still upbeat, but definitely take more time to build to take form, like the EDM or electronic dance music style they're attempting to represent. The soundtrack to the special mode seems to be a bit funkier. I don't know why I had to go like that. Funky con. The soundtrack to the special mode seems to be a bit funkier and more melody forward than the arcade version.
Man, sometimes you and I are way too in sync. I immediately, when you read that to be a bit funkier, I was like, oh yeah, the special mode has a new funky mode.
Yeah. Play that funky music, white boy.
Yeah, you know, as iconic as the music to Rayforce and Raystorm are, I know that there are those who love the Rayforce soundtrack. I have a harder time getting into this soundtrack than I do the other two games. I'm not entirely sure what it is. If it's that I find the melodies harder to latch onto, or maybe they're less memorable. Now, there are tracks in the game I really like, such as the real drum and bass hit of the ship select screen, which is a banger. But overall, I don't know. This soundtrack I find a little bit harder to latch onto, and it kind of takes me longer to appreciate it than I do with the others. What's your take on this, Gojiguy? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like Zentada soundtracks are kind of hard to judge because they're not typical to, they're not like your usual shmup or even arcade game soundtracks. And because the way that the music works in this game, it's like, because it's not like each stage kind of has a theme, and then, like, you know, no matter what, if you experience that stage, you're gonna get that stage's theme. You get a theme for the map, right? So it's like when you're deciding, hey, like, because, you know, once you get enough runs in and you can actually just decide, okay, I'm going to pick this map and that's the one I'm going to grind out and get the clear for. Or maybe you enter the code so you can just be like, I'm going to grind out this map. That map has a specific song that plays through, like, the whole thing. It's like a sequence of music, right? So you're kind of like picking, like, that. I could see some people picking their map based on the music because it has such an impact to the tone and feeling of what you're playing. I quite enjoy it, but it varies so much. Like, this soundtrack is really, depending on which map you pick, you can get some very, very unique songs.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I feel like Zentada has this interesting arc in their shmup soundtracks, starting with the original Darius and Darius 2, kind of through the 90s and culminating in RayCrisis, where they started out, they were very melodic, but they did have a kind of a weird element to them, because if you listen to the original Darius and Darius 2 soundtracks, yeah, they're not typical either, but they're very melodic, they're catchy, they're interesting, and, you know, they kind of have their own flavor to them. And as they progressed with their music over the years with different shooting games, they started to get a little bit more complex, a little bit more involved, and the soundtrack started to, I guess I'll just say that the most simplistic way I can say it is they started to get weirder. over time. Because if you compare something like Darius to Grid Seeker, and then to Metal Black, and then to Rayforce, especially, when you listen to Rayforce and you hear the progression of the music throughout the game, and you get to the end, and it's much more dramatic and melancholy, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But as these games went on, the soundtrack started to get kind of weirder and weirder, because you go from Rayforce to Darius Gaiden to Raystorm to G Darius and then to RayCrisis. And I feel like G Darius, as weird as that soundtrack is, it fits really well with the atmosphere and the flow and all of that. And so I feel like G Darius in some ways was peak weird, but really fitting Zuntata music. And this game was almost like, well, where do we go from here? And so I'm not going to say the soundtrack is bad, but I certainly don't find it to be anywhere near as memorable as anything else that they did during this era. Darius Gaiden, G Darius, or the other two Ray games, all, in my opinion, have soundtracks that are more interesting and more compelling.
Yeah, I can see that argument. Like, I still enjoy the RayCrisis soundtrack, but it's not as iconic as G Darius. Like, that's like, I think, one of their best. And they all got way more experimental as they went on.
Yeah. This one almost feels like it pulls back slightly.
Yeah.
But it does so in a way where it doesn't, I feel like it doesn't retain the same melodic quality as G Darius. And maybe it's just because the theme of G Darius and the way that the game flows, they were kind of following a similar structure to that epic feel of Darius Gaiden. And so they did that with G Darius, where the music was sweeping and interesting, but got weirder. And then this to me feels like, well, let's keep it weird, but in a different context. And I don't know. I don't feel like it fits as well as the other games, but I know there are people who really love this soundtrack, and some of that may come down to the drum and bass aspect, and some of it may just be that it just hits for certain people.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts on the soundtrack, Addicted?
No, I do like the soundtrack, but I do think that I prefer the original Rayforce soundtrack. It definitely does have some moments that sound like you mentioned with the ship selection, but it works really well in game, but it's not something that I would be seeking the soundtrack out for.
Yeah, that's fair. As I kind of alluded to earlier, just like the other Ray games, your primary scoring hook is maxing out your lock-ons and making sure that the higher value targets are the final item in your chain. Each ship has a different score ceiling based on the max number of lock-ons and then the scoring values earned at each level of lock-on. The Wave Rider 01 maxes out at 8 lock-ons, and it goes from a ×2 multiplier to a ×256 at full lock-on. The Wave Rider 02 has the same minimum and maximum values, but due to having max of 16 lock-ons, there are, of course, more incremental score steps in between. So full lock-ons are going to be more lucrative. Even non-full lock-ons can result in large score chains. And then the Wave Rider 03 operates very differently. The ship has a maximum of 24 lock-ons, but instead of a rising multiplier per lock-on. The score is calculated based upon the photon chain counter. Basically, as you accumulate hits on an enemy with a lock-on shot, the multiplier increases. Whatever the multiplier is at the time of the enemy's destruction, the multiplier that you've reached then determines the final score received from that enemy. If no photon torpedoes are fired at a locked-on target within 1.5 seconds, then the multiplier resets. And so the nice thing about the Wave Rider 03 is you don't necessarily have to have it lock on a bunch of times, then fire. You can just keep firing upon your target, and it'll keep increasing that photon chain counter. Max multiplier for the Wave Rider 03 is times 255. Collecting power-ups beyond the max power or max laser will yield additional score, as you would expect. Each item starts at 1,000 point value and then increases by 1,000 for each subsequent pickup until you reach the max value of 10,000 points per item, and that value resets upon death. Now, the aforementioned special mode on the PlayStation has a change in the scoring. It's kind of a unique hook where it makes the skill ceiling of that version much higher because your scores can go quite high. Instead of power-ups, because your ships are always at max power, you get these purple scoring items along with the blue extend items. The initial score that you get from a purple item is 20,000 points, but each purple item that you get after that will increase in value by another 20,000 points until you take a death or until you pick up one of the blue extend items. However, once you max out at 9 lives, the extend items are worth 100,000 points. And so there's a little bit of a dance you got to do there between when do you pick up the purple items to get your max score and when do you get the blue items to rack in that kind of score. The one thing I haven't figured out is where does that 20,000 point increment stop? Because I watched some runs, but I never saw anybody get above around 160,000 or 180,000 for purple items, because either somebody took a death or grabbed a blue item, which then reset that value. Gojiguy, do you know anything about this, and as far as if there's a maximum value for those purple items?
That I'm not sure of, because I didn't get to play that as much, but I wonder if there might be anything in... Like, I don't have access to as good a guide for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything in the Shmups wiki about it, because I think that primarily covers the arcade version. And so, aside from a little bit of coverage during the STG Weekly episode on the game, there's not a whole lot of extra stuff about it, so it's a little bit of a mystery yet.
Yeah.
But I'd be tempted to go back and play the special mode again to see if I could stave off death long enough to find out if there's a maximum value or if it just keeps going up and up. Because obviously, if you could do that, then that would be the skill ceiling for the game.
All right, so let's move on to thoughts from the STCC Discord. A Pony Dragon says, me learning how to chain lightning with the WRO2 has shown me you can rack up a ton of score with it. I think that'd be my ship of choice. Already there's a lot of things I'm liking with this game. I'll be giving it a lot more time as I am quite excited to see everyone's different runs and maybe at least one insane madman doing a 42 run. I don't know how... But this music in this game sounds very hackery and very Ray Trilogy at the same time. It's magical. Okay, learning a little bit more about this game. This game only has 5 stages, not including the in-between stages, but 42 different combinations. Just like Baskin Robbins. 42 different combinations of shmups. 42 different combinations for all of those stages to be ordered in. And you will not get multiple of the same stage. Unlocking all 42 maps to choose whatever map you like, so there's no 42 map module. Like I joked about earlier, it'd be really funny if that were the case, so yeah, we'd be doing our shmup marathon theme, a three hour. Oh boy, now I'm getting the Gilligan. As soon as it's a 3-hour tour, I got the Gilligan's Island theme. Better move before it's still there.
A 3-hour shmup.
Yeah, the caravan mode that never ends. When I first played RayCrisis, I thought encroachment was sort of a stealth system, where the lower it is, the less cred you deal with. Nope. Exact opposite. Later post, a tip, background enemies tend to be a darker shade than the foreground enemies. It's a little easier to see in places like the self-field and desert area. That goes for other games in the series as well. Though, with some of the bosses, it's really hard to tell. That one 4-legged mech boss is a really good example of that. Okay, leaning harder on map 22. Really got farther up and something bit me in the butt in memory stage 4 for this map. Yeah, not dealing with the intelligence consideration boss makes this game so much easier. Just got to practice a little more. Will say though, I'm getting good at speed kills on the bosses here. Starting the summer off with the most unique shmup in this series in ever. There's a lot to love about this game and there's a lot to hate. But of course, starting with the positives. The aesthetic. I think this is the first and only game I've seen a shmup go into whole cyberspace hacker aesthetic, complete with grid lines and holograms and Tron stuff for all that jazz. But it's like now we're playing the Chicago song. It's got grid lines and holograms and Tron stuff and all that jazz. Yeah. It's incredibly unique. I honestly really want to see more shmups tackle this style. I'm familiar with Download. It's on my list of stuff I really want to play. The music. Of course, it's the hacker's aesthetic. Isn't complete with some fine tunes for hacking the planet. Literally in this case. Sorry, this reminded me of that bad. Remember that bad thing that says you wouldn't download a car? I was thinking the one that was killed for the copyright infringement ad that was killed for copyright infringement.
Yes.
It makes me think of you wouldn't hack the planet.
Yeah.
Literally in this case, in the game's 4 tracks do a fantastic job of capturing the feel. All of the tracks start off laid back and jazzy like you're on the easy part of the hack job and starts to get more ominous. Sundestin did a really good example where the 4th level of any run is this song and there's this loud siren that keeps you on edge while the game hammers you with a ton of opposition. All of the tracks have a really nice groove to them and they never get stale. I did have a listen to the Range OST, the raised version. Honestly, I need to listen to more because some of the tracks that had Wary Whistle I really love. You know the one. You hear it in Raystorm's first stage. Enhancing the aesthetic on Raysport Neo HD version, which keeps the low poly look, will give everything a crisper look, really sells the whole cyberspace angle. The 3 ships you turn from all 3 pretty balanced and have some nice strengths and weaknesses to boot. I intended to gravitate to WRO2R for massive chain combos, and the WRO3 for massive destruction. Also because of the rapid firing photon torpedoes make quick work of bosses. The encroachment system is a little neat wrinkle in how this game works. I always thought it was a stealth system, of course, and it kind of does work that way, but also heavily dictates rank, which is a nice touch. It's a bit tricky to learn, but once you learn how it works, you can really dig into the game and try and get a high score with low encroachment. Okay, the save file system. On a cabinet, this is an interesting little thing, a cab that can save your progress. If you enter the code, you can remember, let's say, 4510 or UMA or something on the race port. It's a little annoying to type in all the time, but that's what save states are for. It's also only a minor nuisance. The map system predates a lot of roguelikes. Having the option to choose your favorite map is a nice little detail too. It lets you skip at least one boss you really hate. Now for the negatives, the bosses. I like how they look, but man do they get annoying fast. They don't behave like most other bosses I fought, and their patterns tend to get a bit tricky. Even if you memorize the boss's patterns, they always have some kind of trick up their cyber sleeve to keep on your toes. Intelligence consideration was was my least favorite due to the sheer bullet hell you have to deal with, and hammering its weak point almost exclusively with the lock-on weaponry. Memory is my second most hated boss, mainly because of those darn cruise missiles. I hate how they home in on your position and glide around and stuff. Visibility, the scheme's visually busy sometimes, and that does lead to some bullets being obscured. Especially if the bullet is the same color as the environment. The game tries to not have bullets be the same color, such as consciousness blue. Yes, that will be coming forward to Home Depot. Consciousness blue. But sometimes I get caught off guard by a stray shot. Memory and emotion are the worst, with bullets being red and blending in the sand and the lava of those areas. Overall, the game is very ambitious, and Taito in this game would fit better on consoles, because putting unlockable stuff in your cab wasn't always the best way to keep people coming back, since a lot of people won't really know if things are unlockable unless there's a flyer or something said there was stuff to unlock. Plus, there might be that one guy who religiously shoves 100 yen coins in the cab, leaves a sticky note or something with his here's everything code and something instead of like or but or what's the one oh yeah, I was thinking the one that Joe does. I think he calls it ass protection. I can enter ass in order to unlock everything in this game. I can understand why this game didn't catch on merely as much as say dry, as I give this game a hacks out of 10.
The Orange said, "Okay, I'm back. Drainus didn't really grab me, but I feel like this might. Did a couple of runs. Best survival performance was like 4 CC, and best score a little over 3 mil with credit feeding. So there's the free 2 mil from the final boss included there. There's so much I don't understand about this game, like the significance of the different routes, the rank awarded at the end of the stage, randomly gets C or D by playing just as badly, and how to stay alive, just to name a few. But I love the art style, even though I usually don't like 3D in shmups, and the music is beautiful. Also, there's a sense of mystery to learning the ins and outs of this that I enjoy." And then later, "I intentionally pump up the encroachment to 100% on a run to see what happens. Fun fact, according to the M2 Ports rank gadget, when you get the final boss by reaching 100% encroachment, the game rank instantly goes up to 256, regardless of what it was before. I wonder if that's max rank in this game. So not only do you get the final boss, you get a fully souped up version, which is not a good time. Trying to improve my 1 credit run and managed to get over 2 mil that way. Game over on stage 3. Still, surprisingly high on the Steam version's arcade ranking. I guess that speaks for the fact that it's a hard game." Desolus also jumped in and said, "I've got some of the ports here to give a whirl. I think I'm going to see if I can get some manual scans at the copy shop to share. There's some nice artwork in here."
Orc Commander said, "Reinstalled my copy of Rays and got the normal 1cc for WRO2R. No TLB trigger, unfortunately." Later post, got 2 runs to infinity. Unfortunately, both had the worst image-like formations, so I couldn't get another hyper attack in before it did the final pattern. If you do get to the final phase, then 2 hyper laser attacks plus the round divider bomb is enough to kill it before you get hit by the rotating laser pattern it does in the end. Another later post, did a bit more practice after work today and then just got the clear again. No miss until the last pattern, but got clipped after doing 2 hypers plus the round divider. I'm not sure what's up with that, since most of the guides say that's all you need on the last phase, but I'll look into it further. Later post, got another TLB clear with WRO2R, this time map 39. Map 39 is apparently the best scoring route with this ship, but for this run I had to focus more on survival, since getting Semlok as the stage 3 boss is kinda annoying with its patterns and the semi-random homing nature of the crystal lasers it deploys. Personally, I thought map 5 and 6 aren't too bad. 29 might also be good if you don't mind doing consciousness as the first stage, since you'll get emotion as the third area, and that boss is probably the easiest of the set if you can get a bunch of hyper laser lock-ons on the main body. Later posts. Alright, got another TLB clear on map 41. Probably going to keep looking at replays for more improvements, since pace-wise, this is probably like 500k off from where it could be without dropping as many chains on consciousness if possible. Well, another 12 mil clear, but I dropped too many points in consideration area and didn't want to reset after dying on 2 13 mil pace runs earlier, but I did finally figure out how to quick kill the last phase of Infinity with WRO2R. Cracked 13 million, almost got 3 million after Area 1 and got a few lucrative chains to push that to 7.3 million before Dishuman/Infinity. So now I'm 4th on the Steam leaderboards. The jump between 2nd and 3rd place is going to be pretty hard to do before the end of the month. For encroachment, you may want to keep the laser chain for as long as possible on enemy groups. For example, chaining 8 enemies with a lock-on for each with WRO1 and killing big bosses before they escape. You can also reduce it by killing bosses fast. If I recall, it's like 40, 50, 70 a second for minus, or 40, 50, 70 seconds for minus 20%. The longer you take, the encroachment reduction decreases by negative 1% per 1 extra second.
And there was a correction in the Discord. It's actually 30, 50, 70.
Oh, okay.
But I left the original comment in there.
I kind of forgot about special mode since I was pretty busy over the weekend, but I did put in a quick credit now. I don't remember most of my strats for this mode, besides getting some of the life items early, then focusing on full lock chains, plus picking up successive pink orbs for bonuses. There's also a ×2 score drop, which I did get in this run, but don't remember how to trigger. Did another run and figured out at least one of the ×2 score drops has some consistency to drop on consideration if you have yellow enemy rank, represented by the color of the encroachment meter, which can be blue, green, yellow, red, and then was able to get enough items to get the max encroachment bonus at the end.
Nice.
Skosh says, started out with the PS1 board special mode today. The stages are set and there's a ton of extra lives scattered throughout to make for a pretty easy and fun ride. Cleared with 3 default ships and the runs all together into one noisy video. Alright, that video better be 120p. Gonna start on the Ray's port next, I reckon. Played a bit of the Ray's port on PS4. Gotta say, a lack of practice and stuff is hurting me. I resorted to inputting the opening 42 maps with the code and stuck to a few paths, struggling to get past stage 2 more often than not. I think the numerous extends of the special mode in the PS1 port have spoiled me a bit. Some progress this evening, taking a lot of time to figure out how to avoid bullets and reread some of these patterns, almost paying it off. Made it to Dishuman, but I didn't quite have the resources to see it out, only a few silly deaths early in the run. The pretty short playtime makes me think I'll be doable soonish, though. The way you have to get through the tricky patterns is a couple times in the boss fights is tough. Put in some of those hours the last 2 nights, been using a code to open the maps, and use WR03, close to map 28, clear now. Might have a chance if I can get some time in later and make it the last pattern, just need one more dodge. It took me a good couple hours to play before I even get consistent. I had a bit of a muscle memory from Rayforce, but obviously a slight difference perspective and weird kind of pull of the camera makes it a different beast. Managed a 1cc in map 28 with WR03. I figure out just holding the pulse bomb together and spamming it worked out well. Very nice. GG on the 1cc. Had a decent run on the last boss, even though it's pretty short. Found this game pretty intense. I felt like you could be caught at any moment. Kind of felt like Rayforce light in terms of trickiness, only doing one map mode, learning much easier. And the patterns were extensive or intense, but felt like it while playing. Gonna try some of the other ships in maps, and I might go back to the PS1 port a bit too. Final thoughts. I really started enjoying this game with the PS1 special mode. It served a nice intro to the game with 3 base ships as a whole. That said, I think it also spoiled me with the super generous resources. I wasn't ready for the no extends in the main game. I managed survival clears with the 3 main ships as well. I managed survival clears with 3 main ships. As for the main game, enjoying the visuals, music, and movable lock-on pattern. The WRO3 ship felt great, although I felt that the WR01 and 2 ships felt a little underpowered when it came to taking on bosses. The map idea was interesting. I like to see more paths available from the start without a need for codes. A practice mode would have been appreciated too. The nature of some of the bullet patterns made taking a hit surprisingly easy, and the lack of any extends made it feel like one hit on the run was pretty much over, which is a shame. I did say practice getting help on the TLB 1cc I'm at 33 with the WR03 ship, but I didn't even manage to clear with either of the 2 ships or of any of the other maps. Overall, I enjoyed this, but I'll probably only come back and play the PS1 special mode for funsies in the future. On to Rayforce, like I haven't been practicing already.
Tetraphobia jumped in and said, so should I just credit feed for a bit? Have read the wiki. Think I just need to get a feel for the game. Yep, this is definitely one of the most positive first impressions I've ever had with a shmup, I think. Later on, okay, doing better but not doing well. Almost managed to get to stage 3 for the first time, which is progress. And then again later, holy crap, you guys. Had a week off and then came back to get the last boss in a run. Couldn't get past stage 2 boss before. Feel like the clear is probably beyond me in the next few days, but at least I've put together something non-awful this month, eh? One thing I really like about this shmup is that the 3D-ness of it is about more than just graphics. Being able to move up around the edges of the plane is a cool idea. Lack of practice mode is a faff, but the save states are a nice feature. Can't believe I slept on this one. Taito is such a beast dev. And then, can't believe it's the last day. We'll give some brief final thoughts. Didn't get to play as much as I'd like, but managed to get to the last boss on one run. This game really blew my mind. Such a feast for the eyes and ears. Love the 3D-ness of it. Being able to move up around the edges of the 2D plane makes it super interesting, though I can understand why it wouldn't sit right with some. It's hard, but that's fine. Would just need more time with it. This is my first game of the Ray's trilogy, but I can see why it's so iconic. Really looking forward to the next 2 months. I only really knew Taito through Darius previously, but surely this series established them among the all-time shmup dev heavyweights. Onwards and upwards.
DL Wraith said, I think I may be the odd one out this month. I am really struggling to like my time with RayCrisis. It's a Ray game, I want to love this, but it's doing so many of the things I really dislike in other games. I'm struggling. And that soundtrack isn't helping at all. I mean, where are the memorable tracks in this one? The prime problem for me is what I call eschatos syndrome. The odd dynamic angles and the huge gaps of the play area at the edge of the screen that you can't get into conspire to get me killed time after time. I'm really struggling to understand where I really am in respect to the incoming shots. Moving the background differently to the foreground is catching me out a lot too. I lost 3 credits to the second boss on my first play thanks to that. This one is going to take a lot of adjustment for me. I don't remember having these issues with Raystorm, even chasing that first boss around with all the whooshy angles that fight uses. And I adore Rayforce. That gives me an idea. I know what I need. Can someone loan me some red power so I can pierce through? I'm going to come back to this one slowly tomorrow. Treat it not as a Ray game that I know how to play, but as something brand new that I've never seen the likes of before. The Haley's Comet style encroachment system is cool. The multiple endings intriguing. I should like this if I can get my brain to adjust to the play space. At least Eschatos sounded fabulous. Someone please tell me this soundtrack gets better. Later. Well, I got a 2cc today because Conhuman is an a-hole. Managing to survive most boss encounters now, but the water tunnel stage is still a sticking point for me. I'm still struggling to love this, but I'm noticing more and more really cool effects and details as I played. I'm most affected with WRO1. I find managing the lightning lock-on for WRO2 a bit hit and miss. My consistency is trash. Sometimes I'm at 75% encroachment by level 2, sometimes only 27%. Sometimes I don't even clear level 2. This game makes me doubt my skills. Well, after watching Fro bang his head against the same boss as I was, I got inspired. A little save state practicing later, something I never do. We got a result. 3 letters, 1 CC. Bad ending, of course. Missed most of it as my hospice ISDN lines have melted. So I had BT in one ear and my staff in the other. Pro tip, shmupping while doing crisis management can cost you focus. I never had above a C rank. Played largely for survival, got too cocky after clearing Watery Tunnel clean, and made silly mistakes through the desert, costing me combo score and almost lives before the boss. Used my bomb more than once just for survival. Made it to Dishuman on rank 124, I think. Not sure. I was otherwise engaged trying to dodge that gravity well attack. Man, screw that attack. But I hit upon a sneaky way to avoid most of its aggro consistently. Final thoughts. I failed to clear with the WRO2 in the final hours. I just didn't have the mojo to get it done. Still, happy enough with what I managed with the WRO1. Some final thoughts on RayCrisis. I started at the top of this month really struggling to like this game, and while I still have some criticisms, it's a game that unfolds slowly over time despite or perhaps because of its short runtime and teaches you to appreciate it more as you play. The annoyances of story text scrolling too fast, or the slow speed of the player ship, or background sometimes obscuring certain bullets are all minor gripes easily dismissed, but for me the big issue preventing me from really getting into this quickly were twofold. A. This is an obtuse game to learn in comparison to the other titles in the series with the encroachment system, the map selection unlocks, etc. And B. The dynamic angles of the playfield make navigation unclear and judgment of hitboxes more difficult than it needed to be. On the plus side, there was a lot to love here. The level designs were varied, and with repeated plays, you got to see a lot of really cool details in there. Enemy designs are clearly taken from or inspired by the other titles in the series, leading the game a familiar feel. Being able to pull the lock-on reticle close to you and at the bottom of the screen is a godsend when hunting for combos. Honestly, I'd have loved this in Rayforce. I definitely agree about that. I love that part of the game. And the boss designs are all interesting with the series' trademark destructible parts fully realized here. The fact the game's map system makes playthroughs variable in an almost Psycho way while maintaining a short playthrough means that you rarely get bored with this title, encouraging repeat plays and getting to know the game that little bit deeper. If it wasn't for the inclusion of the manual and the crew of fans here, I may not have gotten to appreciate this one in the way that I did. And while I turned my initial dislike into a more solid appreciation, RayCrisis suffers from one flaw that will prevent me from revisiting it often. It's not Rayforce. Roll on July.
Master Who says, this game's tough. I love the presentation of this game. It looks and sounds incredible. I wasn't a real fan of playing it seriously for scoring, nor clear, just wasn't exactly my cup of tea. I found getting the hyper laser full lock on really frustrating times, and some bosses were real pain, along with too pretty high degree or difficulty throughout. An easy revisit whenever I get the itch. That fight music says, aiming the reticle back is kinda great. You can actually unlock the Rayforce ships in the PS1 version, and they can't do that. The consciousness boss happens to have a safe spot. You can point blank it right in the center and you'll see all the little red bullets it shoots out in the first phase. It's pretty risky though. If you're too close and you get run the boss or it runs into you, you're almost too far away, then you get shot. I've been messing around with a couple of maps so far, and I've done most of the practice on map 32, which skips the intelligence consideration boss and has consciousness first, but also had some decent luck with map 03. Special mode is pretty cool. It's way more chill than normal mode, and I really like the soundtrack for it. I kind of wish I had a Pocket Station. There's a bonus game for that included on the Japanese PS1 version of RayCrisis. Well, it seems very silly. Can't that Memory Card Pro for the PS1, the new one, right, that has that has a screen built in it, can't that emulate a Pocket Station?
I don't think so, because I don't think it has all the controls.
Okay. Darn it, now I'm going to have to buy a Pocket Station and try this out.
Isn't there a
Next
Pocket
thing
Station
you know, I'm searching.
Mr. Core?
What's
It
that?
might be.
I think there's a Pocket Station Mr. Core. I could be wrong.
Oh, that would be cool.
There's got to be some way to emulate it nowadays. I'm sure there is.
I would assume so, but it was fairly niche, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there were a ton of games that supported it.
Yeah.
But you know me, next thing it's a gateway there. Next thing you know, I'll be perusing eBay to find some old Japanese cell phones to play Java versions of Gojiguy.
Yeah. Yeah, Eat Electric Death said, started the game, definitely going to take a while before I get used to my hitbox, the viewpoint, and recognizing which attacks and enemies are on which plane. Very interesting and cool, though. Credit fed my way to an ending, but it was basically just nonsense gibberish to me because all the text goes by so fast and the awful font makes it almost unreadable. And then later, EED said, I want to love RayCrisis, but it doesn't love me. Still struggling to get to grips with this game. I feel like 70% of my deaths still come from visibility issues or misjudging distances. The other 30% comes from trying to micrododge through bullets. Also, does this game not have extends at all? One weird omission from the M2 port is the lack of a boss HP widget. Yes. It would have been extremely useful, especially since apparently bosses can have certain phases and attack cycles when they're actually invulnerable, but this is not communicated to the player at all. Later on, I finally unlocked map select at least. Gonna pick some relatively easy map, i.e. no consciousness, and start grinding that. Map 24 seems promising. You definitely want to have emotion as the first stage, because then the stage and the boss are easy, but become much harder if you have it later. Memory is a safe stage to have last, because it doesn't really get much harder even with the extra boss phase and more aggressive enemies. Intelligence/consideration I find much easier than consciousness. One thing about the game that still trips me up too often is that if you don't actually have as much horizontal space to maneuver as it seems. Those dang invisible walls. It's like the point of view is skewed and the camera shows more, but your actual play area is still basically 3x4. Later on, the consciousness boss with its erratic movements and regenerating parts is much harder for me, but you gotta pick your poisons. I'm concentrating on maps 16 and 24, which have emotion as the first stage, consideration, intelligence as the second, and memory as the third. Semslet is a good first boss because it's pretty easy but gets real nasty in its second phase, if you have it as a second or third. Protor as a second boss because even though its second phase is annoying, at least it has less health here and can be speed killed. Sumfrey as the third since it's an easy boss and doesn't really get any significantly harder in the second phases. And then last, trying to get the true ending with save states at least, and the encroachment management is absolutely satanic. Even if you're full chains and not letting any enemies escape, you can still end up with over 25%. Trying to watch Jamers once he see Ved for guidance, and I still don't understand why he keeps getting much lower encroachment rates. If I recall correctly, the PS1 port has different and much easier requirements, and encroachment only matters for the bad ending. Okay, I managed to do it and ended up with 3.777% encroachment. The key was changing to a different map with easier to speed kill bosses for the bonus encroachment decrease. Memory boss is hard for that since it spends too much time flying around. WR03 unlocked. Also, I'm absolutely never going to be able to do that legit. I got the full speed kill bonus for stage 2 and 3 bosses, with save states, of course.
Schlarp said, remind me, when did the pre-order for Ray's arcade chronology on Strictly Limited Games start? Something like 5 years ago? I still never really played any of the games. I'll try to play it a bit during the upcoming 3 months. Roguelike said, hi, I've been putting some time into this game for a week now with the WR03 ship, and map 38 seems good for it survival-wise. You get consideration first so you can speed kill the spider tank fairly easily, with emotion to memory next. Either boss isn't too bad with just one special attack each as second phase insurance. Another thing I've noticed is this human seems to die much faster by focusing on its side parts, the half egg shape, as their load bearing. Later post, just got a dirty regular ending with clear with 0 lives left on my lunch break. Map 38 delivered. This game has many kinds of weird stuff between the randomized maps, steep playfield angle, hard to see boundaries, and projectiles you have to feel through the eyes of the soul. Nonetheless, I found it pretty fun to explore and try for a clear. Presentation and spectacle helps, plus I'm addicted to lock-on shots, and I like the kind of routing you have to do. Reminds me of G. Darius a little, just a vibe thing. I wouldn't be able to define it precisely. Later post, I think it's really hard to speed kill without being able to hyper laser. And when trying it with O3, I have to end up just dodging a whole lot and keeping a bomb in reserve for phase 2.
Corkman77 says, I just started playing. I've had this game on PS1 for a while and played it casually several times. Now I can remember why I had an issue with it. The visuals are a bit busy and it's hard to see bullets and know what plane enemies are on. Also, the turning and rotation of the backgrounds are a distraction. I'll keep playing. I'll eventually get more familiar with the stages and patterns. The HD visuals help a lot. I messed around with the PS1 version tonight. There's a few changes. The third ship is already unlocked in the original arcade mode, and you get to pick your own stage order from the start. There's also a special mode where you play stages in set order and you start fully powered up. This mode seems easier. I think there's less enemies and bullets and less HP for the bosses. Plus, there's also a lot of one-up draws. Might be a good mode for someone looking for a more approachable time. I'll give this mode a couple more plays and see what I can do with it. I played a couple of runs tonight, special mode, and got to the final boss for both times. I'm going to guess I had it down to 50% HP left the second time. Just need to learn that boss better and start with a few more lives in my pocket. Yeah, I've got lives. I'm sure there's a song there. I got lives in my pocket. And I'm smoking a cigarette. I don't know. Something.
Was that
Yeah. 2 hands in my pocket, yes. Or something, a hand in my pocket, yes.
Yeah, a little Alanis Morissette. Let's see. Danny said, just tried my first credit at the game. Pretty fun. Glad I've played some Rayforce already, or I'd have no idea what's going on. Sorry you're having a crisis, Ray, but you have my support. And Mimo said, I was going to do another WR03 arcade clear on the mobile port, but it runs so terribly on a modern phone that it's no longer worth it. Unplayable lag spikes constantly. The screen is also drawing outside the bounds of the side UI, which is semi-distracting. Oh well, I guess I'll just do this instead. And Mimo posted a Japan PS1 special mode 1cc. And then later said, heads up, completing the game continues aloud. With each ship type on the PlayStation port unlocks both Argrays from Raystorm as playable ships.
Besman said, local finally arrived today. Ray's Switch Physical. It was on offer on the eShop the other day and I was about to pull the trigger. Good job, I waited. So I know I'm late to the party, but I fired up RayCrisis last night for a bit. Like the game structure, it seems like a good game to 1cc as the length of the runs are short with only 4 stages, so it requires some practice as the bullets can be quick. Can anyone recommend a good beginner stage map set, please? And then Samsonite SDG chimed in and said, it's absolutely owning me too. Like I'm having better progress in Dangun Fever Run, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Quickly going over the high scores in the arcade version, Orc Commander, unsurprisingly, bodied everyone and bodied this game with an astounding 13,356,280 points. Of course, Gojiguy was second on the list with 9,193,830 points. Skosh had 8,461,390. That Fight Music came in at 7,141,660. DL Wraith topped out at 4,858,290 points. I only managed 3,350,160, and I think that might have been the one run that I reached Con Human. But of course, or Dishuman, but did not get a 1cc. And then Tetraphobia had 2,958,830 points. We also had several people who played the special mode, as we mentioned. And so, of course, Orc Commander again with 75,591,120 points. That Fight Music with 72,374,610 points. Skosh with 55,931,320 points. Mimo with the aforementioned 52,870,630 points. And then my scrappy special mode clear, where I basically got to the end and burned all but my last life on Infinity, was 36,691,020 points. Final thoughts. For myself, I'm a little bit conflicted because I feel like playing the game this month has given me greater appreciation for it than I used to have. I always felt like it was a lesser game than Ray Force or Ray Storm. And to some degree, I still feel like that. However, I'm realizing that I probably did not take the time to play and appreciate special mode. And because special mode is more approachable and in some ways could serve as a bit of a practice mode for stages, just because it allows you to play them all and, play all the bosses on a reasonable rank. I feel like it's a moderately decent way to play and learn the game and the stages. And also, because it's a much more score-focused mode, and there's a lot more latitude with the scoring, plus with all the extra lives, it's a mode I could see myself spending a lot more time with. I think I also understand the game better now that we've covered it than I did back when I first bought the PlayStation version, because when I bought it, I didn't really know what was going on. And, I've mentioned before that this is one of the games that kind of helped to, I won't say pull me back into the genre, but maybe reignite some of my interest in it after being very casual with it for quite some time, because this is one of the games that was featured in that December 2014 shmup playthrough extravaganza that we did on RF Gen. And of the 8 games covered, it was one of them that I played, and I ended up with the high score for that game during the month. But our rules for that playthrough were very lenient, because the PlayStation version does not reset your score when you continue. And so we were allowed to use a set number of continues and whatnot. And I ended up with, I think, the good ending, at least according to the forum posts. Now, that's been like 12 years ago. So I don't remember for sure, but I think that was, I think that was something that, it kind of helped me to remember why I liked these games so much. And so while it's been over a decade since I really put time into this game, I'm glad that I finally came back to it and gave it another chance, because I think maybe I had either misjudged the game or I just didn't understand it well enough to where I could really give it a fair shake. Having said that, I still think it is the lesser game in the Ray trilogy, but I got close enough to see the light at the end of the tunnel that I would like to continue to hammer away at it a little bit and see if I can get a clear. And I might go back to using WRO3. One of the things that I thought was hilarious in in playing the game on the M2 port is that if you set your lock on attack button to 30 hertz and you play with the WRO3, it feels hilariously broken because you're just absolutely throwing those photon torpedoes everywhere, which is pretty funny. But I feel like that might be a viable path forward for me. To go back to the WRO3 and just spam everything. But yeah, I think it's a good game that serves as an interesting, if convoluted, intro story-wise to the trilogy, and does some things to improve upon the formula, such as the moving reticle, which we didn't really touch on, but it's one of the things you can do is if you move your ship all the way to the bottom of the screen, you pull the reticle in towards you, so you can target enemies that are kind of leaving the screen, approaching your position, which does help in some ways to allow you to clean up a few of those things as they try to get out of the screen. But I don't know. There's still just something about it that I feel like keeps me from loving it more. The map system, in theory, provides you a lot of replay value. It's similar to how a Psycho game randomizes or changes up the stage order at the beginning. But in some ways, that also makes it harder because it means that you have multiple versions of stages, multiple versions of bosses that you have to learn the differences of and memorize, and then figure out, okay, well, which of this boss's second phases can I not deal with, so that you know which maps that you want to avoid. So there's a lot of legwork that you might have to do before you find a map or a few maps that work for you. And so I don't know. I like it. It's good, but I'm still feeling mild disappointment after all the experience I've had with the other two games in the series.
I can go next. So I quite enjoyed this game. I played it after already getting the clear in Ray Force, and I remember the Ray Force clear was like pretty hard to get, and I was excited to play Crisis because I was like, oh, this is supposed to be like technically the easiest of the three, and just because it's the easiest of the trilogy does not mean that it is easy. And then I learned that I ended up getting the clear, obviously, but I didn't get the TLB clear. I would still like to. I just need to dedicate some more time to that. And then, funnily enough, after the month was done, I was in Chicago. I was at Galloping Ghost, and I got the high score on the RayCrisis cabinet there, which was fun to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed this game. I love that it's short. I really like short shmups because I just get more of a feeling of, okay, just one more run. I also, like you mentioned, I really like how it kind of refines the Ray series mechanics. I mean, this is, I guess, if we disregard that one like secret Ray series game that's in that Wii collection, this is the last Taito shmup, and it's also like the last Ray game, so it's got the most refined of everything, where you've got the moving reticle, you can pull the reticle down, but also I really like the hyper laser, because playing Ray Force, one of the things that I learned, thankfully I learned it relatively early on, is that in Ray Force there's no real reason to lock on all of your lock-ons onto a single target like a boss. Like, it doesn't do anything extra, it just makes it slower. So like the proper, strategy when you're fighting a boss in Ray Force is to time to keep tapping that laser button. Not too fast, so you'll be wasting shots, but like fast enough that you're just sending a ton of lasers towards the boss. I thought there might be some kind of damage bonus to holding off and letting everything lock on and unleashing them at once, but there just isn't. Whereas this game finally does something with that idea, and I like it because it adds a little layer of risk on. Hey, if you hold off and let all of them lock on, you'll get a damage bonus and a encroachment reduction bonus. But it also means that when you're flying around in levels, there's kind of like, I don't know, I guess extra incentive to be very careful and calculating in like how, because like there are some regular enemies that you can get full locks on, and that can be really useful. So that I really enjoyed. I also found it really cool, like being Taito's last in-house shmup. It's got so many unique elements, like the fact that it saves your data and you can pick your previously played stage and you put in a code, and you can play through all these different routes. Like it was playing with a lot of unique ideas. But yeah, getting that TLB clear is it's not easy, and I'd like to come back to it to do that. I also will say that I feel that RayCrisis and RayStorm, in my opinion, they would be a lot, I guess, more friendly if they just had even just one scoring extend. I would really like if that was the case. They don't, and that's the way they are, but I really love that Rayforce has multiple score extends. It doesn't have infinite score extends, but it has enough to kind of encourage you to keep going.
To me, I think, as was mentioned, that RayCrisis is probably the weakest in there, but it's not so much that it's the weakest, and it should be, we should all point and laugh at it because it's bad. I think we're dealing sort of like, if you take a look at the original two games as being, let's say, the original Star Wars trilogy. Everyone loved it. Everyone said, this is the greatest thing we've ever seen. This is something new. It's something great. And everyone said, oh, this is fantastic. Then comes RayCrisis, and RayCrisis, let's say, is the prequel trilogy. It does something different than the previous stuff. And in some cases, it does things better. In some things, it does some things worse. But taken on its own, I think it does a very good job of what it is. I do like the short length as well, and I think the different choice of music also suited it well for the most part. The difficulty on it, notwithstanding, I mean, that's... I just figure that most shmups are going to be difficult, and it's going to be hard, especially a Taito shmup, where even the bugs punish you. I mean, look at Space Invaders. Oh, look, we've got more processing power in it because you destroyed enemies. It's not a bug, it's rank. I feel like that should be on the shirt somewhere, too. But overall, I did enjoy the theme. It was definitely different than other stuff that I have played, and I don't think that the cyber aesthetic, especially the 90s cyber aesthetic, gets played enough in there. I think Download was the only other one that was mentioned. It gets even close. So it was nice to see them branching out, even if it was their swan song for the series and for Taito Shmos in general. Again, and like the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, I think it's better looked at through the lens of its own than at the lens of what came before, and you gain a better appreciation through that. That said, I'm also thankful that there's no Jar Jar Binks or Jar Jar Binks character inside RayCrisis.
Huh. All right. Well, let's see what we've got coming up next here.
Sleep.
Yeah.
No. All right. So next we are playing Raystorm, because we're a little bit behind. Thank you, Gojiguy, for coming on and helping us out with this.
Happy to.
Yeah, and we don't have our September game decided yet, because we currently have a poll in the Discord. So if you haven't joined our Discord, we definitely would encourage you to do that, as I said before. And then you can vote on what you want to play.
Cotton Rock Roll 2.
Huh.
Changeable Guardian Barbie. Those are the two choices.
Yeah. Well, that's not in the poll, but yeah. I think right now Andro Dunos 2 is winning the poll, so that might end up being our game, but we'll wait and see once I close the poll. It should be another week or so, and then we'll have it.
That's one of those games that, like, it was really expensive. Everyone wanted it, and then you look online for the sales on Steam, and it says, "Oh, look, I can get it for $1.30."
Right?
It's like, wow, what the heck happened to this game?
Yeah.
Not that price really dictates a game's quality, but it certainly dropped pretty fast. I don't know if the main hardcore community picked it up and everyone got their copy, or if everyone just wanted a physical and that was it.
Yeah, it's a good question. But anyway, we'll see how that shakes out here in the next week or so.
I definitely want to thank again Gojiguy for coming on and helping us fill out with the podcast itself, with extra tidbits of knowledge, as well as provide his own personal flavor to the responses here. It's always love it when someone else can add to this, so that way I get more time to sleep between segments. So thank you very much.
Happy to. And as one final piece of trivia, does anyone know what the prizes were for the RayCrisis score contest in the original North American one?
Wasn't the top prize something like 10 grand?
It was a full-size Revenge from Mars arcade pinball machine.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Revenge from Mars. Was that the one with the
hologram?
Was that the original one? Or was it...
Revenge from Mars
was
the sequel to Attack from Mars, and it had like a
the arcade
hologram element to it. It would display graphics over the top of the glass.
That was Williams 2000, right? The only one that they made other than that was the Star Wars, right? The episode 1.
Yes, the Pinball 2000 system, yep.
Yep, I played that once and only once from someone who had tons and tons of pins back in 2000, and yeah, they had that in Roadshow, and Roadshow definitely captured my interest a little bit more. But yeah, I would love to see that on a compilation.
Huh, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
It's a cool game.
You know what? Do they have maybe Galloping Ghost has it? You can check out when you're next here.
Oh, possibly.
If not, we can go over to Stern and see if we can just sort of sneak in somehow.
Yeah, I know they've got it at the Pinball Hall of Fame. That's where I first played it, but I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Nice. Are you working on any new videos, Gojiguy? Anything on your YouTube channel that's coming up?
I am, yes. I just released speaking of pinball, I released a vlog that Pearl and I did for the Ontario Pin Fest. And I'm working on a video for Cotton Rock and Roll. And a video for Magic Sword.
Oh,
Very nice.
speaking my language, I have a soft spot for Magic Sword.
Yeah, I love that game. It's great.
Yeah. It's big dumb fun, as I like to say. Okay.
I did not know there was a band named Magic Sword. I guess I should have known that.
That sounds like something I would probably enjoy.
All right.
Huh.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I'd like to thank eTrem for the logo. I'd like to thank, yes, I'd like to thank the Academy. No, I'd like to thank Game Boy Guru for making the shirts on rebelvolt.com, Kogosu for the intro and outro music, and MetalFRO and everybody for playing the game of the month. I really, really appreciate the feedback and everybody playing the game. We can't do it without participation. And just Guru and I playing games and streaming them would be pretty boring. So I appreciate everyone's feedback.
And this was what, the biggest yet?
I think this might be our biggest participation yet, because there were 20 of us playing. That's a pretty good crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anything else that we need to plug or mention before we are all finished up?
I wonder if we could do a con-human Bitcoin.
You certainly, you making bitcoins, you are gonna con humans. You know what I mean?
That would be true. Raycoin.
Raycoin. Oh, man. Ooh, it's getting deep in here. I think with that, we should close up shop and say thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you again next time.
All right, thank you. We're falling into quicksand deeper than a Hollywood Western.